In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are live. What's going on? Back at it like a crack addict. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I know the news has been kind of down, demonic, dark. What do you want to call it? Depressing lately. So what do you say we try to, spend our Friday? Happy Friday, by the way. It is April 10th, 2026. I appreciate you joining me. What do you say we just kind of have a more laid back type of Friday show? You know what I mean? Let's try to not take everything too seriously. Like I said, everything's been kind of heavy. Everything's been dark. Everything's been depressing. So let's take it in, a little bit of a lighter mood. Sun's out. Smoke them if you got them, right? If you're drinking early, drink it up. What do you say? We say hi to the chat in the meantime. What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you guys. What's going on? Sean O. Appreciate you, brother. What's up, George? What's up, Ian? What's up, Roxanne? Optimus Grime. Let's go, brother. How are you doing? What's going on, Trina, over on Twitch? Appreciate you, Greg, on YouTube. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like button wherever you're watching. What's up, Yakov? What's up, Tiff? What's up? What's going on to the rest of the mods? Appreciate you guys. Shout out to you. But yeah, what's going on, Game? What's up, Will? What's up, Vasantha? Appreciate you guys watching. Dame, see you in there. What's up, Deb? What's going on, Julie? Hey, Twiggy. What's going on, Johnny? All right, yeah, lots to talk about, lots to discuss. Obviously, a lot on the agenda. Some craziness to talk about, some ridiculous to talk about. Obviously, what the hell is Melania doing? That was kind of a shot from the blind side, if you will. So we'll be digging into what the hell was going on with that. Obviously, the MAGA civil war has erupted like no other, something that we've been covering, I think, for a little bit longer than most people, even the mainstream kind of platforms that are now picking up this feud that's going on in the MAGA universe. I think this was something that we've been talking about at least since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, if not before that. So we'll be trying to rip into that as much as we possibly can. I want to do all the digging, all the highlighting of all the hypocrisy. Again, a lot of channels seemingly highlighting a lot of what Marjorie Taylor Greene and Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson is saying without really giving everybody the background to these people that they should have, without, letting people know that, they're still, diehard Republicans. They still don't give a shit about you and human rights and anything like that. They are kind of right on what they're saying here, but it's definitely that broken clock moment as far as that's concerned. So we'll be digging into a couple of the past statements from both, people like Tucker Carlson, people like Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, what Donald Trump has said about them in the past, just to kind of get everybody up to speed. These people are grifters. They are hacks. They are con men. They are fraudsters, every single one of them, and they're just trying to land on the right side of the money right now. Tucker Carlson, Candace, again, the whole crew. You know who the crew is. You don't have to go over it, but we'll be getting into that. New Lego bang is out. I mean, the Lego videos just do not stop. Every single thing that comes out in the news, chances are there's going to be a Lego video that comes out with it, and they just keep getting better. Again, I feel dirty saying it, but they just keep getting better. They just keep getting better. So we'll be discussing that as well. Lots to talk about as far as the ceasefire or the fake ceasefire, what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz, what's going on with the negotiations, if in fact they do take place to look at as well. So why don't you guys hit that like button, please, as you filter in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing. subscribe to the channel. It's very, very easy to do so, and it's very, very free to do so as well. But, if anybody has $1 or $2 to kick into the channel as support, there's a Venmo up in the corner. That is the easiest and quickest way for you guys to get your support to the channel. You can sign up just underneath me for a YouTube membership. Less than a gallon of gas gets you a month here at Blunt Politics. I think that's very good value, very good bang for your buck. And you can also check out patreon.com/Boston Brian. 3 great tiers on that. We put out this morning for all of the members our discount code, so you can head over to the Blunt Politics merch shop. Use that discount code now. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for being the backbone of this community. Thank you to everybody that sends in Venmos, Super Chats, hits a milestone. And again, thank you to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and Substack. I really do appreciate you guys. All right, let's dive into a little bit of the news that we have to catch up on. What do you say we just kind of touch on a little bit of what's been taking place, some of the recent news as it pertains to this like ridiculous ceasefire that isn't taking place but is taking place, the negotiations that are supposed to happen, but Iran still hasn't really agreed to the whole thing's a mess. It really is. But let's see if we can just kind of get up to speed, up to date on what's been taking place. Let me throw this on the screen. This is from OSINT Defender. There's a couple posts here that I wanted to dive into. One of them was this. This was from 4 hours ago. The IDF has significantly increased the tempo of strikes on Lebanese Hezbollah positions and infrastructure in southern Lebanon amidst ongoing reciprocal strikes between LH, obviously Lebanese Hezbollah, and Israel in the past days. Per an IDF statement, they have struck more than 200 Hezbollah launch sites since the start of operations. Again, just trying to fill everybody in on what's been taking place as far as the strikes are concerned. Here's another one that seemingly is hilarious when you consider what is being said by the other side. This is JD Vance, Vice President JD Vance, leaving Joint Base Andrews for Islamabad, Pakistan, to head to go have talks with Iran. But when you hear about the recent statements coming out from Iran, basically they're still waiting for the United States to agree to the 10-point plan. That's going to be something that's going to be discussed. They want to agree that Lebanon is part of the agreement, and they also want Donald Trump to, basically stop threatening genocide. They want them to stop threatening the eradication of the Iranian people. But yeah, this is footage here of JD Vance heading to Islamabad, Pakistan for talks with Iran on ending the conflict in the Middle East. Speaking to Fox News on the tarmac, Vance said that Iran must negotiate in good faith for talks to realize any success. And again, as I was just mentioning, and if you take a look here at what's being said by some of the leadership over there in Iran, this is what was put out there by Galabaf. He says 2 of the measures mutually agreed upon by both parties have yet to be implemented: a ceasefire in Lebanon and the release of Iran's blocked assets prior to commencement of negotiations. These 2 matters must be fulfilled before negotiations begin. And then basically, this is put out by Ali Hashem. It says, till 2 hours ago, senior members of the team were still in Tehran. Now, MBG is requesting 2 measures for commence talks: a ceasefire in Lebanon, and 2, the release of Iran's blocked assets, as we were just saying. So basically stipulating that our guys aren't even going to Islamabad yet. Like, you need to agree to these stipulations. You need to agree to at least what we're going to be talking about before we even think about sitting, taking flight, going to Islamabad and engaging in these talks with you guys who, again, have made it quite clear that any peace or, nuclear negotiations with the United States are going to be completely useless, considering what we were engaged in before as you guys struck our country. But again, this is kind of the back and forth that you're seeing, the difference between what you're hearing from the United States regime in comparison to the Iranian regime. And then you got this here. From OSINT Technical put out where he says Trump says that he is preparing military operations in case talks with Iran fail. And that's per, I believe, the New York Post. He says, quote, we're going to find out in about 24 hours. We're going to know soon. We're loading up the ships with the best weapons ever made, even at a higher level than we used to do at a complete decimation. Right. So even at a higher level than we used to do a complete decimation. It doesn't even make sense. It's probably why I'm fumbling over the words. Like, it just doesn't make sense the way he talks about it. But this is, again, Donald Trump threatening complete decimation of not only the Iranian country in its existence in totality, but again, using this murderous genocidal language that he's continued to use, not really something that's going to enhance the peace negotiations, enhance the negotiations and talks that apparently JD Vance has already left for, but the Iranians still haven't JD Vance is going to be negotiating with himself, basically. Again, if Donald Trump continues with this language, if there's no, active ceasefire to be reached in Lebanon, and again, what was the other stipulation that they had to give back all of the blocked assets? That's what it says here. Implemented in Iran's blocked assets are released. So until the United States basically agrees to the points of contention here that Iran is stipulating, they're not even sending their delegation to meet JD Vance. So we're going to look like even bigger tools, even bigger fools on the world stage when JD Vance goes and shows up and starts shaking hands with fucking nobody. You know what I mean? But again, this is the latest coming out of, this nonsense, this mess. I just figured we'd catch everybody up on that. This is another one. This is another recent post by Trump where he says, the Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. President Donald J. Trump, again, just ridiculous, maniacal, genocidal, dictatorial, autocrat speak here from Donald Trump, basically not recognizing that it's not really a short-term extortion. It seems to be a very heavy-handed, seems to be a very firm grip that Iran has on the Strait of Hormuz. And again, even with the United States and the best military capabilities on the face of the planet, we don't seem to be capable of opening the strait or guaranteeing the safe passage of ships through the strait. Because if we were able to do so, we would have done so. Okay. So again, to not recognize the danger posed, and again, the level of, leverage that Iran still has right now and can continue to wield is, again, just showing that Donald Trump isn't living in reality. He's totally removed from any sense of whatever is taking place and whatever's best for the American people, whatever's best for the world at large. I mean, he's just completely out of his tits right now. And again, he continues to push us further and further away from not only peace, but any beneficial outcome from this. We are in every single metric, by every single measure, worse off than we were just 7 weeks prior to this, before we engaged in this war. So, I mean, there's no argument to that. And again, some of the MAGA folks that we'll be listening to and talking about later on in the show just pretty much go to prove that, right? There's just no way to defend this without looking like an asshole. We get a couple clips here from Piers Morgan, Dave Smith, again, no friend politically of the show, but again, he had a good showing and kind of putting down, I forget what the other guy's name is, Ben Ferguson, maybe. This other evangelical idiot that's typically around all the media shows and shit like that. But he comes down and pretty much uses every one of his talking points that he knows. And Dave Smith does a pretty good job, a really good job, actually, of shooting them all down. Piers Morgan even getting involved, too. So even people that you wouldn't align yourself with at all, people that were kissing ass of Donald Trump not that long ago, that were the most sycophantic, the most MAGA you could possibly fucking think of, now seemingly calling out and being on the right side of at least what's going on with the war in Iran. But before we dive into those morons and what they had to say, I'm curious what you guys thought about this, because what in the fuck was this all about? What is going on? Have we really reached the point in the war with Iran that it's gotten so detrimental to Donald Trump, it's gotten so bad for the Republican Party that they're now desperate to bring back the Epstein files as far as a news story? Like, I think everybody kind of had the same, like, what the fuck is this all about? Like, was anybody talking about you? Like, I don't know. You weren't even in the news as far as I remember. Like, who the fuck was even bringing this up? Like, I understand you got these lawsuits in the background going on, but as far as having this, like, spontaneous press conference to alert everybody of, like, your freedom and your, how you weren't in a relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, what the fuck was this all about? Right? Seems like something's coming down the pipeline, right? Is somebody coming out with a story about Melania and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that she wants to get ahead of, right? Is she trying to get ahead of, what's coming down the pipeline for her husband as far as the Epstein files are concerned? Or is she just, again, desperate to take the focus off of the chaotic and absolutely, disastrous war in Iran that her husband has undertaken with Bibi Netanyahu? I mean, I'm just, what you let me know in the chat, right? There's actually a little side thing here that StreamYard's offered me where I can do a poll. I don't know how many options I can give you though. Let me see here. Widgets. I can add an option. I can add 3. But that will take me like 10 minutes for me to type out like the 3 options. So again, it's a good thought by StreamYard, but as you're doing a live stream, not really conducive to setting up a huge poll in the chat. But anyway, I'm curious. Let me know what your thoughts are in the chat as to what this was all about. what's going on, why she came out and then to say she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, I don't understand what the fuck was going on here, because I know you guys saw this. Let me throw this on the screen. Because we'll just listen to a minute of it. I just want to listen to like the opening salvo of her message, and then there's a video here by Coffeezilla where he's trying to kind of sift through what the hell this was, what this was about. He kind of rehashes the little bit of evidence and the little bit of connections, or not the little bit, but the connections between Melania and Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein, the emails that were released, obviously the pictures that were released that we know about of all of them partying together. So we'll go into that, but I'm just curious, like in this opening salvo, like what's the plan here? Like what's the message that she's trying to send? What's going on? Is she trying to get ahead of something? I think everybody's trying to figure that out. Let's see. Yeah.
First Lady Melania Trump.
With the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards.
Who the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Like, we already talked, we know Michael Wolff, we know your little stupid fucking lawsuit against Hunter Biden, where he had an interview and he was referencing something that somebody else said, so that's a bullshit lawsuit right off the fucking jump, right? But other than that, who is talking about you in the Epsteins right now? Like, you guys had managed to sweep that under the rug as far as being at the top of the headlines, right? With this whole Iran war that your husband has undertaken here. But what the fuck? Like, I'm just like, what is happening? What is happening? Again, it's like my first thought was, are they that desperate? Like, is it this bad? Like, is it really going this poorly as far as the Iran war is concerned that they're like, fucking, I don't know what you got to do, but go talk about Epstein out there. Bring up Epstein again. You know what I mean? Like anything but Iran. Whatever they want to talk about, that's fine. Epstein's cool. Ghislaine's cool, just not Iran. Like, is that the point that we're at? Is it even worse than we suspect here? Like going through this and covering this every single day? Like, I don't know. This whole thing, nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing the administration does that makes sense. Nothing anybody surrounding this administration that they do makes sense. It's like living in a fucking twilight zone. You know what I mean? It's just what the fuck is going on. So we don't have to go through too much of her speech here where she tries to get everybody to believe she had nothing to do, even though the emails and the pictures are out there. She wants to put the blame back on the victims and have the victims come out and have their statements again. Like, even though that the fucking, like the DOJ and the FBI doesn't have enough information to go off of to try to prosecute and convict these motherfuckers, we got to like drag the victims back out for another fucking show, for another piece of theater. Like, what the fuck? Don't try to switch the fucking script here. It's on the DOJ, right? It's on Pam Bondi, who again doesn't want to come in and testify in front of Congress. So, you can see that these people have no intent. They have no care whatsoever for the truth or again, getting accountability or justice for the victims. If they did, Pam Bondi would have no fucking problem. She'd actually be dying. She'd be happy to come in and speak to Congress and tell them everything that she knows and learned as far as her time as the head of the DOJ, right? The fucking FBI has more than enough information if they wanted to go ahead and prosecute some people, or at least open, more investigations into these assholes that we've seen had more than enough evidence in relationships to suggest maybe some criminality, or at least knowledge of that they didn't report, right? I mean, so the whole thing, it's just like, again, we're living in a simulation, basically.
Humility and respect.
Respect.
I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein.
I mean, talk about a Melania Streisand effect moment here, right? It's like nobody was fucking bitch. Ain't nobody talking about you. Nobody gives a shit about you. We got bigger fish to fry right now. Okay? Ain't nobody talking about you. What the fuck are you doing? Now people are talking about you. Now we're like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Now we got to do some digging. Like, there's got to be something going on behind the scenes. Like, she knows a report's coming out, a file is about to be dropped. Iran, maybe she's getting scared with these Lego videos, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe these fucking Lego videos of flying through Melania's fucking feed, right? She's just scrolling through these fucking Iran Lego videos that continue to talk about Epstein and Trump's involvement in the island and all this other shit. And she's like, fuck, they got something. Like, I ain't getting left behind on this one. Like, fucking ain't no way I'm getting left holding the fucking candle on this one. Like, I'm getting out ahead of this just in case they come out with a Lego email or a Lego fucking. So, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, man. What's going on, guys? Hit that like on the way, and thank you, Sparklers. We're just trying to dissect the Melania Trump moment here. We're just trying to figure out what the fuck was taking place. Like, what is this all about? Again, not to repeat myself, but thank you for everybody just joining me. Make sure you hit that like button. But what the fuck is this all about? The Melania Streisand effect is in full motion here. Like, now everybody's like, okay, we're digging into something now. We're gonna figure out, is it the Iranians? Is it, who's got what that they're about to release? Somebody, some reporter, some journalist got some dirt somewhere, or again, is she seeing the writing or the catch up on the wall about her husband and what's coming? Like, why is Melania all of a sudden trying to get ahead of whatever? Or is it again the Iran war just going so poorly that they're like, you know what, fuck it. At this point, at the Epstein files, let them talk about the Epstein files. That's better than the chaos and the fucking danger we're under and kind of everything that we've given Iran through the Iran war. It's just, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. But we don't have to listen to any more of her horse shit. But that brings me into this, because she talks about, like, not having a relationship, not knowing Ghislaine Maxwell. We know all the pictures, right? We've seen all the pictures of her and Donald and them together. We've seen the emails. I think Coffeezilla actually brings a few of them up in his video. But there's also, this moment. And I know Michael Wolff's one of the people that she's suing. But remember this moment where Michael Wolff actually brought up the fact that Jeffrey Epstein had referenced the fact that he had sex with Melania prior to Donald Trump, right? And again, listen to this. Check this out, because this was posted by Krasenstein. And I'm not sure when this actual interview was done, but this was posted about 7 or 8 hours ago by Ed Krasenstein, where he says, breaking, Melania Trump had sex with Jeffrey Epstein, per Jeffrey Epstein. And again, this is coming from Michael Wolff in this interview here. But check this out.
Epstein is quoted, and this is from an interview apparently in 2007, where he says that he had sex with Melania a full year before Donald Trump commenced his relationship with Melania.
So is that you, Boo? I'm sorry, Melania. Is that you who Michael Wolff is saying here? Jeffrey Epstein allegedly said he had sex with you a year prior to you even engaging in a relationship with Donald. Like, that would that would go against what you were saying. That seems like you would know somebody very well if you were sleeping with them, right? You would have a relationship with them. And again, not only that, but it shows a consistent pattern of a relationship, as far as the pictures that have been taken, all of a sudden, the parties that you guys have been involved in together. I mean, it's a consistent pattern that you can see. I'm just saying, this is, again, per Michael Wolff, per what apparently Jeffrey Epstein has allegedly said. So I'm just going from the source itself, coming from Michael Wolff, again, a guy you have, I think, $1 billion lawsuit out against. So just the things that are out there, just showing the things that are out there. But there was also this video. Kind of diving into this a little bit further. So I just wanted to see kind of what everybody's take was. I know everybody's trying to speculate as to, their theory and why the hell she was doing this, and if Donald Trump did or didn't know. I know it was reported that Donald Trump was speaking to some reporter and said that he had no clue that she was going to do this. I mean, again, it's possible, considering their relationship and how they don't communicate with each other, and they probably despise each other, and they're always in two separate places. But again, I don't know that Donald Trump wouldn't have some fucking people on the ground that would be able to kind of feed him the news through the grapevine. I don't know. So what's the plan? What's the bigger ploy behind the scene? Who the hell knows as far as this is concerned? But there are some people digging into it, I can assure you. So, all right, let's dive into this. This is Coffeezilla here, and it says, why did she say this now? Again, the question that I think most people have, like, what does this mean? Why now? What's coming? So let's see if we can get any answers from this video here. Hit that like button. I appreciate everybody that joined us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, if you find yourself coming back to the show, feel free to subscribe. It is free to subscribe. So thank you guys. And again, hit that like button.
The Epstein story truly will not die. I thought it was killed the moment we started killing people in Iran, but suddenly it was brought back. by none other than the First Lady, Melania Trump. She suddenly started denying things, even though no one has accused her of anything yet. But if you listen to her, it's clear someone's about to.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today.
Now, if you're wondering what lies she's talking about, I don't actually know, because
I thought she was going to come out and say, lies, I do not give a fuck about the lies. I do not give a fuck about the Christmas or the lies. You can fucking take the lies and the Christmas and stick it up your fucking at the ass.
Hasn't been a lot of reporting on Melania Trump and Epstein. She appears very rarely in the files. The only thing I've seen is an email with Ghislaine Maxwell where they're talking in a friendly way, which she addresses in this statement. Really, the only other thing is reporting from Michael Wolff that Trump and Melania may have been introduced by Jeffrey Epstein, although those stories have been since retracted. And so the question is, okay, if those stories have been retracted and no one's really talking about that email, what are you talking about here? Like, literally, what lies are you trying to get ahead of? This is just a text version of the speech she gave. She talks about, people defaming her reputation, saying, to be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell.
But she also directly contradicts Donald Trump's statements of it being a hoax, of this being, something made up by the mainstream media or something made up by the Democrats all these years ago because they knew this situation would arise, again, all these years later. But I mean, this it flies in the face of everything that Donald Trump, and again, every Republican that's trying to defend Donald Trump has come out and said about this, even though I know Donald Trump's, story on this has changed at least 37 different fucking times. But this is basically, a confirmation by Melania Trump that indeed, there were other people involved, and she's trying to distance herself from that. So again, is she just seeing the writing or the ketchup on the wall that Donald Trump is kind of, trying to paddle upriver without a fucking paddle here? Like, I don't understand, kind of what the play is, like what's kind of going on behind the scenes. I'm sure at some point it may reveal itself. But again, as for now, everybody's trying to do their speculatory work and figure out, is it a journalist that's got something? Is it Iran that's about to come out with something? Is she doing this, just in case? I don't know. We'll figure it out, I guess. So let me throw this back on the screen, see if there's any further insight we can get.
Cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. And here's that email with Ghislaine calling her, Sweet Pea, thanks for your message. Actually, plans changed again, and I am now on my way back to New York. I leave again on Friday, so still, I do not think I'll have time to see you. And Melania allegedly says, I know you're busy flying all over the world. How is Palm Beach?
But again, this was reported, like when this came out in the Epstein file, like this was reported on, but, it wasn't really this, like, obvious smoking gun, right? It was clear evidence of communication, which goes through and shows, a long-term, a long-standing relationship, again, just by knowing each other, their communications, their pictures with each other, the parties that they've attended, obviously the relationship with other friends that are inside the same circle. So, but it wasn't like something that would blow up the entire story or anything like that. So the fact that she's bringing this up, or the fact that she's now talking about it and making people bring this back up, is again why people are like, what the fuck? Like, I don't like you. What if you just kept your goddamn mouth shut? Didn't seem like anybody was really jumping down anybody's throat to bring up your involvement here. We're more focused on, again, your husband, and the other high-powered profile, high-powered leaders that are around the world, and the people that have fucking billions and billions of dollars and a lot of leverage and a lot of sway and can keep people quiet. All those people, those who we're going after. Obviously, we want everybody that's involved at some point. But again, there's bigger fish to fry than Melania, I think, at this point. Again, I could be wrong based off what she's involved in, what she knows about, but again, it remains to be seen. But as far as this is concerned, there's the email, the pictures, as far as like, this huge smoking gun, which Melania seems like is out there or ready to come out there. Again, people are kind of questioning where that is.
Can't wait to go down. So the idea that there's no relationship there, probably not true. But again, this was not something on the tip of everyone's tongue. I mean, you can look at Google search trends, like what people are interested in looking at. And it's very obvious that this was very much not a story until she started talking about it. This is what it looks like. I mean,
the Melania Streisand effect is in full fucking swing right here. Again, it's remarkable the way that these people just do not have like the media savvy that they claim to have. Like all these people that have been around the media, they've been around Hollywood elites and all this bullshit. They're in the elite circles of New York City. They're in the elite circles of Palm Beach and all these places that are known for having paparazzi camp, all this bullshit. And yet they do stupid fucking stuff like this unless it's not stupid. Unless it's not stupid and there's something concrete that she's heard through the grapevine or she knows that's about to come out. Again, let me know what you think in the chat. Keep the chat going. Keep the conversation going. I'm wondering what you guys think. Let me know.
This thing has been dead. This is the last 7 days. If you look at the past 90 days, I mean, literally nothing until all of a sudden Melania Trump comes out of nowhere on the official White House account and all of a sudden starts throwing around denials like she's the subject of a Netflix crime docuseries. So again, the whole video is bizarre. She's warning people about fake images and statements about Epstein and her.
Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been calculating on social media for years.
Calculating? I'm going to imagine that word says circulating. But again, who am I to say that these best speakers on earth are wrong in the way that they speak? Because I'm going to say that they weren't calculating. I'm going to say that they were circulating around social media. And maybe this all stems, I mean, it could be just as dumb as like something she saw on Twitter, right? I mean, can we all just at least pop that option into play? Like these people are so fucking stupid and they're so fucking soulless and they care about their image so much, right? And they're so afraid of anybody kind of equating them to the Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that maybe she saw some AI photo on Twitter and she's like, oh my God, I get to get the head of this. People are going to believe this. It's probably something that fooled her. Like, shit, is this me? I don't know. Maybe it is me. Oh, it's not me? All right, I got to tell other people this isn't me. I don't know. Who knows at this fucking point? You don't put anything past these morons.
Now, be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false.
I mean, again, what is she talking about? What photos, what statements? People have not been talking about this. Literally, no one's been talking about this. And let me say,
nobody cares about you, bitch. Like that's what everybody's basically saying right now. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, we got the world on fire over here, and you're fucking talking about, and she adds in like her book, like she throws in halfway in between in her speech, like her, a little advertisement for her book. Like, what the fuck? Is that really what this is? Like, get the name churning again, get people searching Melania Trump, and throw in some ads, to people that are searching your name, and hopefully somebody buys a fucking book. I don't know. Like, again, never put anything past these people as being a possibility. That's it. Even if it sounds ridiculous to you, if it sounds completely nonsensical, irrational, something that would never, ever be tried by anybody sane, like then still do not cut that out of the possibilities. Do not cut that out of the option bank because you got to keep everything open. You got to keep that bag open as far as these morons are concerned because it could be fucking anything.
Somebody in media, this screams she got an email saying, hey, we're running this story, and she's trying to get ahead of it by basically, this is essentially damage.
And again,
control.
like people are saying and speculating, if that's the case, then we should know, pretty soon. It shouldn't be that long before we figure out that was, in fact, what was taking place, because I'm sure now utilizing the buzz surrounding this, said journalist or said newspaper or said magazine is going to want to release that story as soon as possible before that buzz dies down so they can get, obviously, the most clicks on the story, which is, in fact, what they try to do anyway. So shouldn't be very long, in fact, if that is the case. But if it's something else, if it's sort of like a government at play, if she fears that some other government has some information, and again, maybe she's seen enough, maybe it's somebody in her inner circle, maybe it's a friend she has at the DOJ or the FBI that's kind of feeding her this information. Who knows? That's what I'm saying. You just don't fucking know with these people. It's like, it's the Steve Bannon effect. They've thrown so much bullshit. They've thrown so much at the wall, and we've tried to defend so much of it that it's like it's almost impossible at this point to decipher between what they're capable of, what they would do, and what is just completely irrational and shouldn't be counted as an option, shouldn't even be thought about. Like we have to consider all fucking possibilities with these people going forward as if like we weren't doing that before, because right now with the shit that they're saying as far as genocidal, murderous, fucking end of civilization shit, obviously the cover up of the world's largest child sex trafficking ring in history with some of the most high profile people on earth, I mean, again, we have to make sure that we don't take anything or remove anything off the table of possibilities as far as them trying to remove themselves from accountability and justice, and obviously, fucking steal and rob and cheat and commit fraud on the backs of the American people and everybody else to try to enrich themselves while they're in government power. So,
of some kind. Now, I'm not saying that the story that might run is true. I'm not saying that the story will run, because this is a very calculated statement to essentially threaten the people who are thinking about running that story, which we're going to get into in a second.
It was my husband and his mushroom penis. It was not me. It was my husband and his mushroom penis. Please, if the story does come out, do not believe it was my husband, his mushroom pecker, and not me. Please, thank you. Melania Trump. God bless.
all right, so we don't have to dig into any more of that. I appreciate you guys for joining me, but it's stirred up the speculation when nobody was kind of speculating, or it's been a while since people had been speculating. Again, I'm more than happy to continue to bring up Donald Trump's involvement, his friends and his family's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, considering, again, that's been thrust to the background by this war, because of this war. Again, that's probably one of the, the big intents, one of the big goals of this war is to make sure. So that's why it doesn't make sense to anybody why this would all of a sudden be thrown back into the mix. As again, it looked like the right wing kind of had their moment. But it wasn't being talked about as much, obviously, clearly, considering what the news is on a daily basis recently. So again, let me know in the chat, what do you guys think? If you're watching this later, if you're not watching this live and you happen to watch the replay, let me know in a comment underneath this video what you guys think is going on, whether she's kind of running from Donald Trump, whether she's just running from a possible article that may be coming out, or again, she's afraid that maybe the Iranians or somebody else that isn't friendly with her husband may inevitably release some information that will be incredibly damning. So curious what you guys think. Let me know. So appreciate Coffeezilla there for his video. I think he's kind of, speaking, kind of for the rest of us when he's with his confusion, right? Like, what the fuck was that all about? I think that's as soon as she was walking away and her speech ended, I think that's what everybody on the planet, even Republicans, even her team, probably at the exact same time looked at each other and was like, what the fuck was that all about? You know what I mean? So again, hit that like button. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. All right, let's dive into Greg Kelly's take on this, because I am dying to know what Greg Kelly thought about this moment, what he thinks about what may be coming up next, or if he's trying to, again, excuse this or applaud this as being like some great moment for the most unpopular first lady in American history. So again, let's see if we can do and check out what the dumbest man on Newsmax, the dumbest man on the internet, has to say. Again, this is Greg
social media
Kelly.
Can be a nasty place, and I know people
what
say,
the hell's on his lip? What's on his what? Did he cut himself shaving? What the hell's on his lip? Did he blow a snot? Does he have a snot in his lip? What's going on? What is happening here?
nasty things, and there are all kinds of bots out there. Well, she had enough, and this afternoon,
is he actively bleeding on live TV? Am I seeing things? Am I seeing things here? Is he actively bleeding on live TV? Maybe cut to a break? I don't know. Cut to a commercial. Throw a piece of fucking toilet paper on that motherfucker. I don't know. Like, what is going on? Looks like he cut himself shaving and it's actively bleeding down his lip. Either that or he's got a nosebleed or had a nosebleed. I don't know. Obviously, this is stressing Greg Kelly out talking about this. Clearly. What is going on?
From the White House, she walked to the podium and she had something to say.
Looks like it's growing. Looks like it got worse even from like the 2 seconds he was just speaking.
She spoke for about 5 minutes and the networks picked it up. You know, I wonder if you had the ability to kind of go on.
It is. It looks like it's about to drip down his lip now.
Television and set the record straight. I would be, well, I do it every night actually, but I mean, I think a lot of people would be.
He's actively bleeding on fucking television. Like, dude, it ain't that serious. Take a fucking break. Put a Band-Aid on or something. Put some Vaseline on that thing. Slow down the bleeding. You know what I mean? You can have a fucking hemorrhage. It's not that important for Newsmax, I assure you. There's not that many people watching, Greg, where you have to fucking bleed out at the table. Like, you see that shit? He just wiped it with, again, a brown napkin. Like, you cheap bastards over there at Newsmax. What are you guys buying the middle school napkins that they don't use? Remember those old shitty brown, like they don't soak up a goddamn thing, but will actively push around all the liquid very well. Like if you want all that liquid to cover the entire space that it didn't hit previously, make sure you get them fucking ridiculous brown napkins that don't soak up a damn thing. Because that's apparently, yeah, exactly. That's apparently what they got over at Newsmax. But it looks like he must have cut himself shaving this morning. Didn't feel like putting a Band-Aid on, or again, just even going with maybe some brown toilet paper. Maybe to blend in a little bit, but he's quite clearly actively bleeding as he's speaking about this. It's distress. I'm assuming it's distress, right? It's unfortunately, thinning Greg's blood out, and now it's just seeping out of his pores as he's talking about, his favorite family's connection with Jeffrey Epstein.
Doing what she did. People are lying about her on the internet.
You can see it already coming back. It's already coming back. This guy's going to fucking pass out if you don't take care of this pretty soon.
And she did.
Lies linking me with the disgrace.
Linking lies is being calculated on the Twitter. It's not circulating, it is calculating.
Jeffrey Epstein need to end.
Yeah, no, shut up. I want to see if Greg Kelly actually passes out at the desk because of blood loss. I mean, is he going to actively need a transfusion because of this? Does he ever come back, or does he just play? Oh, yeah, he does come back. Let me see. I'm curious how much blood he's lost. Let me see.
I didn't even know about it. Yeah, somewhere in the trove of documents, and this was news weeks ago, but I missed it. She wrote an email in like 2000 whatever.
2000 whatever. It's like whatever, Greg. It's like it doesn't even matter what year it was, Greg. Like, oh, whatever. Like 2002. Who's even like? Were you even alive in 2002? Was this even a thing in 2002? Like, who was even like trafficking children in 2002? That's not even a thing. Like, Jesus Christ. Why did he just turn into a Valley girl trying to defend Melania Trump in her correspondence and communications with Ghislaine Maxwell? Like, whatever. Jesus Christ. Maybe it's the loss of blood. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he's lost so much blood. We don't know. We don't know how far into the program this was. This is just a random clip, right? But this could be like 3 hours into the program, and he's been bleeding the entire time, and he's lost like 8 quarts of blood. Dude's about to fucking pass out. But anyway, this is Greg Kelly in his little defense. Sounds like he's just trying to excuse the communications, excuse the pictures, excuse all the parties they went to, and the past relationships allegedly. Considering what Jeffrey Epstein has said, what Michael Wolff has said, just disregard all of that information. Disregard her husband's deep relationship and deep involvement with fucking God knows how many of the people that are involved in the ring right now, and the fact that he's actively covering up using his power and position as president of the United States. Take that out of the picture, because we don't need to think about that if you're Greg Kelly. None of that needs to be taken into account. But all right, let's dive into some of the, let me see if I can get this off the screen. My apologies. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Hit that like button. Thank you again to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Substack. Smash that like button, whatever you're watching on. I'm dying to get into this, though, because the MAGA civil war that we have been bringing up, rightly so, I was talking about it right when this started, right when this kicked off, as we need to stick our crowbars. We need to stick our fucking fist, feet, anything that we could possibly get into the cracks of MAGA and pry that son of a bitch wide open. We need as much crackage. We need as much fucking infighting. We need as much in as big, like I don't know what you want to call it, like, just like the kerfuffle that is the cartoon, and you see like the legs coming out every now and again. You'll see like a head poke out and then it gets sucked back in. Like, that's what I want the MAGA cult to look like. I want it to just look like a fucking, like, just like a cartoon episode of a big brawl at the Wild Wild West. That's what I want it to look like. So we're going to continue to highlight it. We're going to continue to prop these fucking people up as far as, like, the bullshit that they were responsible for get us into. And now all of a sudden seeing the light, Donald Trump now actively attacking his own people, which is, again, not something you want to do when your polls are this low. When you're involved in something this unpopular, not really something you want to be able to do is go ahead and attack some of the people that have the biggest platforms that you guys were actively supporting each other for years and years and years and years, whether it's Tucker, Megyn, Candace, or Alex. Clips galore that you could pull up, and we will pull up. that you can look at where these people are talking about each other like they're the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread. Not a better fucking broadcaster out there than Alex Jones, says Donald Trump. Nobody better out there as a journalist than Megyn Kelly, says Donald Trump. Candace, oh, what a brilliant fucking person Candace Owens is, says Donald Trump. And then you got the sayings and the speeches and the rhetoric on the reverse side, of Candace Owens talking about how great Donald Trump is, and Alex Jones talking about how great Donald Trump is, and Megyn Kelly talking about how great Donald Trump is. So don't let them escape their past, okay? These people get no fucking flowers. They get no fucking credit. They get no empathy, no compassion, no sympathy. They don't get a fucking seat at the table. They're not all of a sudden joining us under the big tent, okay? These aren't people that should be applauded or fucking, okay, maybe we should, maybe let them bet. No, fuck them and fuck them fucking, big time. How about that? Okay, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, fucking beat feet. We're going to use your words against you politically. We're going to make sure that we can use it to our, political benefit because you guys were on that side and continue to be on that side. But at least on this point or a few points, you're pushing back. So we're going to use that pushback while also reminding people what decrepit, soulless hacks of human beings you are. Okay, so the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the fucking rest of these fucking pathetic losers. Okay, we're going to use their words against MAGA, but also recognize that they're pathetic losers and deserve no credit, respect, credibility, all the words that you can think of in that situation, deserve none of it. So again, to reiterate, so this is what Donald Trump was putting on the old Truth Lies social account that he's got. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, which is, again, ridiculous when you consider, the clips that everybody's been playing and the clips that we'll highlight here, have been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They're stupid people, and they know it. Their families know it, and everyone else knows it too. Again, not really a good look for a guy in the past who has gone on to applaud, gone on to defend, gone on to, again, what do you want to call it? Throw his weight behind these people, talk about how great these people are. Megyn Kelly, Tucker, oh, what a great person Tucker is, right? How many times have you heard Donald Trump say that in the past when Tucker was on with Fox? Clearly, he's just, being a hypocrite because they have come out against him and his war with Iran recently, and he needs to, in some way, try to combat that, to try to, hold on to that title as like the world's weakest strongman, as he thinks he has. He says they don't have what it takes, and they never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, all caps on that one, and will say anything necessary for some free as in quotes, and cheap publicity. Now they think they're going to get some clicks being in quotations, because they have third-rate podcasts, all capitalized in the first letters of that. For whatever reason, I don't know. But nobody's talking about them, and their views are opposite of MAGA, or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. Again, the guy doesn't know the difference between a plurality and a majority. So again, somebody's going to have to explain that to him at some point as well. He also says here that MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN 100% approval, which is, again, almost sounds like more ridiculous for somebody to put out there as like a defense. Like, why would you want anybody to agree with you 100% of the time, right? Like, that's just showing that you're an autocrat. You want to be a dictator. Like, isn't there, like, there's a saying somewhere where you shouldn't agree with me 10 out of 10 times? Like, there's a problem about that, like, no matter who it is. But he goes on to say here, the rating of Trump not handing flailing fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He has a broken man. Jesus Christ. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist, or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me now the famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit, again, coming out against Candace Owens, against the lawsuit that Brigitte Macron has against her because Candace Owens has been going out and calling her a man. So the ridiculousness of this entire story is again not lost on me whatsoever. He says, actually, to me, the First Lady of France is far more beautiful a woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attack on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims. Again, broken clocks. How the fuck he comes out of that one? Ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. So now these so-called pundits are losers, and they will always will be. Now the fake news CNN, the flailing New York Times, and all of the other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA. They're losers trying to latch on to MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want to, but when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on on world and country affairs. And after a few, he just wrote a fucking 20-page Truth Social. Okay. Does anybody honestly believe he doesn't have the time to take a fucking phone call, send a text message to these idiots? Right? Like you kind of like you're showing your cards at that point. Like you're going to sit down, and we know how tough it is for you to understand the English language. Type down probably the longest Truth Social post you've ever put out, but somehow don't have time to make a fucking phone call to these people. Okay there, Chief. Keep it going. Somebody needs to take Gramps to the home at this point because he says, I'm too busy on world and country affairs. After a few times, they go nasty, just like Marjorie Trader Brown. But I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing right for our country. MAGA is winning in strength in not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again, and these people have no idea how to do that, but I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere in the world, which is just beyond fucking asinine to state at a moment like this, considering the realities of where we are. I mean, it's just fucking utterly ridiculous and goes to show exactly where this guy's mind is. What's left of this guy's fucking mind is just totally like just gone. Okay. It's just no longer there. Hollow, empty space. The danger posed by this maniacal genocidal freak now at the helm right now for as long as his fucking heart keeps ticking is a problem. It's an absolute fucking problem. It really is. So you can see here, but it hasn't stopped the old, MAGA civil war. Hasn't stopped the pushback. There's a few clips here we got to go through from these people. And then again, I want to make sure to reiterate, what these people have said in the past so that we don't lose sight. Again, anybody trying to, applaud them or give them any credit or, accept them into their fucking group or whatever the fuck, like absolutely goddamn not. So again, this is in response to not only Melania Trump coming out in her press conference, but also to Donald Trump in his post, apparently attacking Alex Jones and the rest of them. This is what Alex Jones had to say. And there's a few of these clips. Boy, does this get good at a few points. Like, it's just kind of crazy to see who's kind of involved now. Like, again, the most sycophantic people, the craziest conspiracy theorists that were on the side of Donald Trump. And again, to a point, you'll notice that Alex Jones is still like overwhelmingly favorable to Trump. Like, he wants to, again, praise what a great job he's done and how sad he is that it's come to this, right? So he's kind of coming out and saying the truth, what's really going on, but also trying to keep his toe dipped into that pool of like whatever funds, whatever kind of money that the MAGA idiots that watch him are still willing to throw out there. Like, he can't totally disown the audience or the majority of the audience that watches his show. He still needs them to buy his dick pills and his fucking hot pills and whatever other pills he's selling on his show nowadays. So again, that's why he does this like, oh, I'm so disappointed and I'm heartbroken and I prayed for Trump and all this bullshit. Like, just shut the fuck up. We know what's going on. So again, let's see if we can dive into just a couple of these clips, a little bit of what he had to say here.
Well, President Trump came out on Truth Social and attacked myself and all the original MAGA supporters today. And I'm just so sad that whatever's happened to him has totally changed the man he once was, because he did so much good. That said, it followed just a few hours after Melania Trump came out, unannounced. Reportedly, Trump didn't know, and said she wasn't involved with Epstein and she supports a full investigation by Congress into the Epstein cover-up. Trump says Epstein's a hoax. So this reminds me of Melinda French, when she started turning against Bill, also over Epstein. So Trump's got big problems, folks. And I am just so concerned about this country and the world. Trump's being led around by the nose by Netanyahu and by Mark Levin.
Hey. What does Alex Jones watch the show? Alex, I know I got a bunch of fucking drops of yours here, but I don't know. Is that enough for you to watch this show?
A cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace.
I mean, I know I got a bunch of them.
My superpower is being honest. I will eat my neighbors.
There's a bunch of them here, but is that enough to get Alex to watch a show? Because that's what I've been saying. I've been saying that Donald Trump's been being led around by the nose by Benjamin Netanyahu. So again, Alex, appreciate you for watching. Thank you. You seem to be tuning into more liberal, progressive, leftist kind of podcast and live streams, which is good. It's good. We don't accept you watching this show, and we continue to tell you to fuck off, really. But again, at least you're trying in the background, it seems like.
And it's so sad. The Iran war is a total disaster. A black eye for America. They control the Strait of Hormuz. It is just absolutely incredible what we're seeing and what we're facing. I supported the old Trump. They got so many good things done. But at the end of the day, I just feel sorry for him and pray that God touches his
Oh, yeah, I pray for him every fucking day. I'm so saddened that the frogs didn't turn him gay. It would have been better than the outcome we've seen now. If he had just hopped into with the frogs and the frogs turned him gay, we would have been better off. I know Kamala wouldn't have turned the frogs gay. I kind of wish we voted for Kamala now. Like, this guy is he's off his rocker and still just cannot detach himself from the insanity, from the lunacy, because of like the mental state that he's in at this point. Again, this guy is about a week removed or so from being the drunkest man on the planet on Tim Pool's podcast. So let's not forget that at all. So again, let's take what what he's saying here, and again, not give him any praise or credit or respect for anything, but we can use this against the MAGA base. We can use this against the Trump regime, because it's like these people that were so desperate to follow you, so desperate to excuse every fucking thing that you did, like even they have now been pushed over the edge. Even they have now kind of, seen what the dangers that have been posed by having Trump in power right now, actively calling for the 25th Amendment, actively calling for the removal of Donald Trump, right? I think even Alex Jones had Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and they went off. I think I have a couple clips from that too, but he continues here to talk about not only the desperation that Donald Trump is exerting right now and showing right now with his, the dangerous genocidal rhetoric he's putting out there, but also at who he's attacking. And again, just goes to show you how far removed from reality Donald Trump is. Like, he used to have this, kind of, I want to call it like a stranglehold over the cult, a stranglehold over the base. Like, he used to know how to get them involved. He used to know how to get them on board with no matter what it was that he wanted to enact, no matter what it was, the policy-wise, foreign policy or domestic policy. Like, he used to know how to get out in front of the cameras and kind of schmooze it over and make it so it wasn't that difficult for them to follow or defend what he had to do, right? That's why so many of them did it. But now all of a sudden he doesn't have that ability. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to get in front of a camera and do the commanding of his cult anymore. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to get up there and explain or rationalize and propagandize to the extent he used to be able to get the MAGA cult and all these fucking idiots to believe and trust in his, his ability and his capabilities and his military genius. He doesn't have that anymore. He's lost that capability. And that's why we've started to see and continue to see the fracture, like we have, of not only the Republican commentariat of these idiots like that, but also the MAGA base, right? The MAGA cult. And as much as they continue to say that they're supportive of what Donald Trump is doing, there's a lot of these motherfuckers in the same motherfuckers talking in the background about how ridiculous this is, right? So again, there's a lot of, I don't want to come out against the cult. I don't want to come out against the regime. I've come this far. I've lost my job. I've lost my career. I've lost my friends. I've lost my wife. I've lost my family because of my love and support of Donald Trump. I'm not going to give it up now. Like, I'm going to ride this motherfucker down. I'm going to ride the Titanic down, right? Might as well. Like, there'll be the band playing while the thing's sinking. That's what these people are, the people that are left. But again, in the background, they also are speaking up a lot more, as people and politicians are continuously talking about when they're speaking to their constituents about how worried they are, how much it's affecting them as far as what they're paying for gas prices, what they're paying for groceries, what the problems and how it could get exponentially worse if we start seeing the Bab el-Mandeb, if we continue to see war in the Strait of Hormuz closed. Like, this has the probability of getting much worse. So a lot more people in the background are starting to recognize that, even if they're not willing to, speak up in public or talk about it on social media. There are a lot more. And again, this is just, evidence to suggest, these idiots here like Alex Jones, who was, again, still seemingly so supportive and upset and praying for Donald Trump, but still actively calling out the moment that we're in, right?
And free him from the demonic influences that he's under. I mean, it's just that simple.
When he says free him from the demonic influences that he's under, he's directly referencing Benjamin Netanyahu's control over Donald Trump, right? And he's got a few of these that he's been putting out. Let me see here. I think there was another one, if I'm not mistaken, on this one. If not, I think it was the Marjorie Taylor Greene one. Let me see. I'm going to go to his I'm going to go to his page real quick. Let me just see. Because I think he had one with MTG on, and then he had another one, if I'm not mistaken. What he had? Roger on. Let me see. Was it this one where he broke into his news thing? Benny Johnson. I think it was right after this. Oh, there was one here. Listen to the opening of his show for this one, too. You only have to dive into a minute of this, but listen to, he opens with what Donald Trump used to say about how great Alex Jones is, and this kind of feeds into the further clips that we'll play here of some of the things that these idiots have said, not only about Donald Trump, again, getting us directly into this situation now, only to actively try to call it out like they had no fucking involvement or culpability in this. But listen to this real quick. Here's kind of the opening to one of Alex's shows.
I just want to finish by saying your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope.
President Trump, you promised to never let me down. But now you've let yourself and America down. There's still time for you to turn back and stop listening to your never Trumper enemies.
So again, that's how Alex started one of his, I don't know if it was his live streams or one of the other dumber programs that he has on that fucking network at this time. But he also had Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and there was a couple clips out of this. I think it was like a half-hour conversation as far as this is concerned, but we don't have to, obviously, wouldn't it subject you to that much of Alex Jones and Marjorie Taylor Greene. But I think the first minute or two kind of will suffice. I think it's kind of pretty plain and clear what Marjorie Taylor Greene has been saying on social media, what Alex Jones has been saying as far as the 25th and Donald Trump not being, cognitively able to lead this country anymore. So what do you say if we can just play the first couple minutes of of this exchange? Because again, they're going at Donald Trump, and I do believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene again calls for his removal here. Let me just see if I can play this.
We have to be realistic about the Republican Party. The Republican Party needs burned to the ground. It's completely controlled. As a matter of fact, much of Congress is controlled by AIPAC and by Zionists, and that is a serious problem. I fear that we will see a nuclear bomb used on Iran, and I think that'd probably be the worst thing we could see in our lifetimes, is a nuclear bomb used on anyone. You save American troops' lives by get the hell out of the Middle East. We had no business there to begin with. And the truth is, look, you may have supported President Trump for 10 years like I did, and like you have, but this is not the same man. This is not the same man that we supported, which Doge was one of the most popular things, along with border security, mass deportations, Doge. These were
again the two biggest nut jobs that people would think of when you think, hey, MAGA, conspiracy theorists. Like the two fucking main names that would pop into your mind have now teamed up together to somehow overpower the MAGA base, the MAGA cult, and Donald Trump, to a point where Donald Trump had to react on True Social to call out all of these idiots, whether it be again Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. These people have now somehow bested Donald Trump as far as being against him as in this Iran conflict, the Iran war. And again, even the Epstein files, because Marjorie Taylor Greene again references the fact that this kind of all kicked off when Donald Trump was pissed off with Marjorie Taylor Greene that she was signing on to the petition that pertained to the Epstein files, that she was helping the victims, that she was trying to get some time with the president to talk and speak to the victims. So that's kind of when this whole thing started really kicking off. That's when she started becoming Marjorie Trader Brown instead of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
America first, lower inflation, lower the cost of living. Those were the core components of the campaign. That, and my God, gut the deep state. That was what we wanted so bad. Hold people accountable, for the love of God.
So again, you can see her showing her displeasure. I think there's one other point here at about 7 minutes in where she makes a good point, and then one at about 9 minutes, and then we'll dive on to the next topic because, these people have been kind of consistently saying the same things while also trying to defend the other policies of the MAGA cult, other policies of the GOP and the Republicans. They would have absolutely no problem, again, voting against your best interest. They would have absolutely no problem voting against marginalized communities. They would absolutely have no problem diminishing and demonizing people of color. So we continue to remind people that no flowers, no empathy, no sympathy, no compassion, and no respect for these assholes, but we will use their words words against the Republicans, considering they were the heaviest supporters, right? They were the biggest supporters, the most sycophantic people. Again, the face of the MAGA conspiracy cult. These people that we are talking about, the Tucker, the fucking Candace Owens, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Alex Joneses, right? All these people used to be the face of the MAGA cult, and now they seem to be the ones rebelling the hardest, right? So that's why we try to use it to our political advantage. Let me just see, like I said, there was one point here at about 7 minutes. I'm curious what she had to say here.
Exactly as it is. And you said the president has gone insane and it's time to use the 25th Amendment. He's not mentally stable. And you can love President Trump. You can not love him, no matter how you feel about him. But everyone has to be honest and realistic and wake up and look at the facts. Any person, no matter who they are, when they say they are willing and they set a deadline and they literally say 8 p.m. that night, that they are going to wipe out an entire civilization of a country that, by the way, Iran has not bombed America. We don't have bombs falling on our head. We are not being attacked right now. Nothing is happening like that to us. Am I defending Iran? No, I am not. I'm just pointing out the realistic facts.
Man, it's crazy. It's almost like if you listen to what everybody was saying for the past, 10 or 12 years, and even leading up to that, when Donald Trump was referencing a political run, how everybody was, he was known widely in New York City for being a con man. He was known for being a fraudster. He was known for being, sexually exploitative to women, especially younger women. This was not a fucking secret. This was not something hidden behind these closed doors that nobody seemingly knew about. It was out in the open. He had been involved in many court cases. The racial profiling had been widely covered. Obviously, his letter about the Central Park Five was widely broadcast. Everybody knew about him and his father's dealings as well. Like, none of this was a fucking secret, right? Especially when the tapes started coming out of him telling Hollywood Access, whatever it's fucking called there, that he could grab women by the crotch without their consent. Not only that, but again, when the stories were coming out of how he was treating his ex-wife, the speeches of Hitler at his his bedside table. I mean, there's so many of these different stories that you could talk about. The fraud involving his buildings, the lies he used to tell, and trying to accrue different sports teams. Like, the whole thing was widely known, widely broadcast, and the only reason that anybody gave him any sort of sense of credibility was because of the fucking TV show he had. Which, again, the stories coming out of that were probably more detrimental than the actual fucking the good publicity that he got. But that's a secondary note as far as that's concerned. But here we go. As far as Marjorie Taylor Greene, again calling for the 25th Amendment, again talking about Donald Trump's cognitive ability on with Alex Jones as they continue to do. So we just want to continue to highlight this as far as being the most prominent, the most sycophantic of people that are now trying to come out and kind of remove themselves from this situation. And I'm not going to allow them to do that. They are very much attached to this situation. We're very happy to, again, use their words against Donald Trump, use their words against the GOP, especially heading into the midterm elections. But again, there is absolutely no way I'm allowing them to remove themselves from fucking, accountability as far as what we're now facing. They were the absolute fucking face of why we're here right now. So no shot in hell am I going to do, or allow that to happen, and allow them to kind of rewrite the history of what they've been involved in, allow them to kind of rehab their image by any extent. It's not going to fucking happen. So I want to continue to make sure we know that about these people as we continue to use their words against Donald Trump. And here's just kind of further, evidence and further clips to prove this theory. Here's one where President Trump was praising Marjorie Taylor Greene as being unbelievable. So again, just to kind of rehash where the relationships were between these people, what was said between these people in the past, and how they want to kind of, forget about that really, really quick, how they want to remove themselves from that really, really quick. Yeah, check this out. If it plays at all, maybe someday today. Am I going to have to refresh? Just play. That's all you got to do. Not that difficult. You played before. Let me do a refresh real quick. And play. Yeah. File. Oh, come on. This video file cannot be. Why? You played earlier, asshole. I'll give it one more shot. One more shot. Nope. Ain't going to happen. Ain't gonna happen. Well, anyway, in this clip that did play just before I got on the show, why it's not working now, I'll never fucking know. This is where Trump praises Marjorie Taylor Greene as being unbelievable, obviously commending her for the work that she did in getting him elected, obviously trying to, give her dues for being on her knees for so long for the MAGA cult. But unfortunately, the file will not let me play it. But we have a ton of other these. Maybe that's kind of saving us some time anyway. We could jump into this one too, because this is where Candace Owens gets involved, and she now wants to talk about how everybody was better off under Donald Trump. The African American, class in this country was way better off under Donald Trump. And again, now compare that to what she's saying about Donald Trump and his presidency now, and you can see kind of the hypocrisy. You can kind of see the 180 that has had to be done, the kind of pretzel that's being twisted by these people to try to get remove themselves from the MAGA base, from accountability, from the blame for why we're in this situation right now. But check this out too.
This hasn't worked out for us. Look at exactly right. Look at our neighborhoods. Look at the condition of our families. Look at the crime statistics. Look at the father absence statistics. What could go worse, right? And that was sort of my perspective, when I decided to support the president. And now after watching his performance over the last 3 years, things have gotten better. Black Americans are better off with Donald J. Trump in president than we were after 8 years of Barack Obama, who was the first Black president.
As a Black
Donald Trump, again, said was better for Black Americans than 8 years of Barack Obama. And then you compare that to what she's having to say now, and she's posting stuff like this. It may be time to put grandpa in the home. And again, this is in direct response to Donald Trump's Truth Social comments about Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and the rest of these people. So again, you can see the clear switch. I wonder if she's now going to come out and apologize again for telling everybody to vote for this guy and applauding this fucking madman for being the best thing since sliced bread. Again, these people are just so sycophantic that it makes me sick to even hear them say this shit at this point. But again, it is politically expedient to continue to use this against the cult and the base. So this is again talking about Trump's followers on Truth Social extremely upset about his attacks on Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and Alex Jones. This goes on to talk about again and show some of the comments on the post on Truth Social and how they're in support of basically everybody that Donald Trump went on to attack, as opposed to Donald Trump, taking Donald Trump's side in this matter. But, we continue on because there's about 17,000 of these different clips that we could use. This is, again, let me see what this one is. This is horrible. This is where Donald Trump is ripping into Megyn Kelly, who, again, pretty much got absolutely nothing for her sycophancy, her loyalty to Donald Trump. And again, now she's having to do this 180 to remove herself for getting absolutely nothing. Again, all these people laid themselves down at the feet of Donald Trump, were so desperate to do the bidding, to carry water for Donald Trump and his crimes and the shit that he says. And what did they get in return? Absolutely nothing. They got stepped on at every fucking turn. If they didn't toe the party line the way that Donald Trump wanted them to, if they didn't talk about Donald Trump, well enough, if they didn't give him enough compliments, then they all got thrown under fucking the bus. And again, this is what Megyn Kelly used to get from Donald Trump.
Horrible question, remember? And I said, oh, am I dead? That's the first question I ever got. Megyn Kelly, may she rest in peace. She's sort of making a career by pretending she likes me. And then, so what happened is she asked me that horrible question.
Talking about the question that he referenced actually in the post that he made, the Rosie O'Donnell question, as he talks about it. But again, these people just never once got anything for their loyalty, right? No benefit. Again, besides, padding in their bank accounts because they were soulless hacks and they didn't care who was funding them. They didn't care how they had to make their money or who they were lying about. But they just didn't get anything, beneficial from Trump or, any kind of like acceptance whatsoever, but they still remained loyal. They still remained defending and obfuscating for Donald Trump at every single turn, right? And then, cut to what Megyn Kelly is saying now is this shit.
I mean, honestly, like the president, 380, yes, shut up. Shut up about that. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually in a social media post. I am the first to try to understand Trump and his strategy.
And you were also the first to say, I think, that the Republicans could drop a nuke and you would still vote for Republicans over Democrats, right? I think you were the first person to say, maybe not the first person, because we have this as well. Sorry to kind of switch kind of tactics on you right here, switch gears on you, but talking about Republicans being okay with dropping nukes. I don't know if you remember this clip from Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham basically going on to talk about how he wishes Israel would have launched a nuclear weapon at Gaza. Like, he wants it to be not only flattened, but if it was him in charge, he would have launched a nuke, much like we did against, Japan in World War II. So, just to kind of reference how sick and twisted these people that are now in power are. Again, referencing both Megyn Kelly and fucking Lindsey Graham and the war hawks and the neocons like fucking Lindsey Graham in this government right now. I want you to remember this. I think this was about a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is about a month ago. Listen to Lindsey Graham in this. Listen how fucking disgusting this is.
Look at the last few years since October 7th. Many people in this part of the world say what happened in Gaza does not align with Christian values. Killing children, killing mothers,
Well, I'll be honest
killing
with
families
you.
who are not militants.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all.
Why?
Because what did we do in World War II?
I mean, just right off the bat, I don't buy that at all. Talking about it being unchristian, not Christian-like, to kill innocent children, to kill mothers, to kill civilians with 2,000-pound bombs, to, again, eradicate an entire population, or at least attempt to eradicate an entire fucking population. Lindsey Graham, right off the bat, dismissing that as being, okay. Like, why is that in any way non-Christian? Why is that unchristian-like? You know what I mean? Like, he just can't even get that through his skull. Like, it's totally justified. Not only that, but like the bloodlust that runs through this guy's fucking veins. It's almost exciting to him. Like, he doesn't feel fulfilled unless there's some fucking bloody war happening in the Middle East that he can be involved in, that he can go out there and support the troops and talk about the bombs dropping and the bullets being shot and the babies being killed. Like, he doesn't seem fulfilled unless it's either that or Disneyland, I guess, right? Unless he can get a fucking purple bubble blower or whatever the fuck it was. He's not really satisfied unless he's on Grindr at Disneyland or apparently talking about the death and destruction of entire fucking countries. But he goes on.
Did we think 1 minute about starving the Germans? Did we bomb every...
Yes, I can assure you we did, in fact, think for a minute about starving populations in World War II. I can assure you that whatever actions were taken, and again, we can debate these actions till the fucking cows come home, and people were the second that they were enacted, whether it's the firebombing of Tokyo, we're talking about the bombing of Dresden, or you're talking about the fucking nuclear bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These conversations were had, and continue to be had as whether or not they were completely inhumane, whether it was, we needed to drop them, whether, it was, a war crime to drop them. Again, I think it's a difficult argument to make that, if we're taking out, bridges, railways, and oil infrastructure, energy infrastructure, it's a war crime. But in fact, dropping a bomb that kills 100,000, 150,000 people in a fucking instant, it's not. You know what I mean? So it's tough to be, it's tough to be on both sides of the argument there. But absolutely, people are talking about it. We're talking about it. People had a problem with all of the fire bombings. There were people speaking up and talking about all of the different blockades that we've enacted. You know what I mean? There are absolutely fucking people that speak about these things, that were thinking about these things before they were enacted, and whether they came to the appropriate conclusion, right? Whether it was the appropriate thing to enact is a totally separate argument, but you can assure there were committees and people thinking about it and people speaking about it and people being shot down with ideas at every fucking turn before these things were enacted.
City into smithereens. So this is a war. No,
October 7th to World War II.
Yes, I am. This is an absolute existential threat to the Jewish people.
But not to the Palestinians. But not to the how the fuck can you have that thought in your mind that it's not an existential threat to the Palestinians when, in fact, the entire Israeli government has basically come out and said that was the intent. Not only the eradication of the Palestinian people, but the removal of them from their land, from the greater Israeli project, so that they could take it over. And they were going to move them to the desert, or they were going to move them somewhere else. Like, don't forget that don't think that we forgot about the ideas that you guys were coming up with Donald Trump, and they were going to fucking, ship them out into the desert, build them some little fucking, little civilization out there, build them some little camp out there that they could be housed at. Meanwhile, Donald Trump can build his fucking Trump Plaza Gaza, Israel could come in and take over the land, and who knows, go from the Euphrates to wherever the fuck they want to go at this point. It remains to be seen. But he goes on.
What happened on October the 7th was 1,200 people were slaughtered, raped, and murdered and filmed by radical Islamists who would kill every Jew if they could, to the world. If you don't understand this...
Look at the fucking look in his eyes, too, right? You can just tell that this guy's a fucking madman. You can just tell that this guy just wants to see fucking bloodlust. Like, he's just the stereotypical neocon that is not happy unless blood is being shed somewhere in the world at the hands of something that he's responsible for.
It's a threat to Israel.
And then they flattened Gaza.
Just flatten it. We flattened Berlin. We flattened Tokyo. Were we wrong to drop an atomic bomb to end the Japanese reign of terror? Were we? So my view, if I were Israel, I would have probably done it the same way.
So he says there, that's what he's saying, that there was no problem with dropping the nuclear bombs on Japan. And if he was in charge, if he was running Israel, he would have treated Gaza the same way. This is a fucking Republican politician, a Republican senator right now in power in the United States government talking about dropping nuclear weapons on Gaza if he, in fact, was the leader of Israel at the time of October 7th. Okay? So again, talking about, like just absolute genocidal freaks that are now in charge, well, even beyond the fact that they're incompetent, they're brainless, they're soulless, right? They're just completely fucking incompetent at everything they try to do. Like it's even worse than that, because even if they do, follow through on something, it's going to be genocidal. It's going to be fucking murderous. It's going to be, just bad. It's going to be fucking bad. So, we continue on with what else does she have to say here? I forget if she has more to say.
And to not freak out over his weird social media posts and language that is loose and incendiary. Truly, I've lived with it for 10 plus years. I learned it the hard way when I was on the receiving end of it for 9 months. And truly, I think that was a gift to me in many ways.
You mean like when he said rest in peace? When you weren't dead, right? When he continuously made fun of you and ridiculed you, even when you were so like highly loyal and defensive of everything he did. Remember when you got nothing in return from that, like everybody else that's been kicked to the wayside by the fucking MAGA cult, by Donald Trump themselves?
It's because it helped me really come to understand what he does with his social media. But this is completely irresponsible and disgusting. This is wrong. It's wrong. He should not be doing it. I don't care that it's his negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it.
No, and it's also not hard to recognize or say that there's been ample comments, there's been ample pieces of evidence to suggest exactly what the conclusion that you're coming to right now, that he's a fucking lunatic, right? That he's lost his shit, that he's fucking stupid, he's a moron, and should have never been in this position to begin with. Like, we could have told you that in 2015. And in fact, we were telling you that in 2015, which is why everybody right now is not willing to give you a fucking second shot. We're not willing to give you any credit or empathy, right? Your little fucking, your crocodile tears that you're shedding right now, all of a sudden to come to see the light now is a little fucking late for credit. Okay. So, I know there's a saying better late than never, but not for these motherfuckers, not for the situation that they're responsible for getting us into. Sorry, not fucking sorry. But it gets better from here. It gets even fucking better from here because, every single one of these people listed have basically the same videos that you could look at. And here's another one. The same thing. We could go back and they're praising Donald Trump out the asshole, shining his shoes, doing everything they can to get elected. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, how could this be happening? How could we possibly be in this position? It's like, oh, it's like, who do we look at to blame as to why we're in this position? Gee, I fucking wonder. You absolute fucking morons. I wonder who we're going to blame, right? Gee, it's almost like we've been telling you what could possibly happen for the last fucking 10, 11, 12 years if this guy was allowed to get into power, right? Gee, it's crazy how that's been happening, chat. How you guys have been right for the last 12 years. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing that you guys can be that right. But let's see here, because this is Tucker. I believe this is one of his RNC speeches where he's going on to, again, applaud Trump. He's going on to talk about how he definitely knows Trump is going to win. And then we'll cut to what Tucker is saying now about his vote, how he feels now about his vote. And this kind of falls in line with like the Tim Pools and the Benny Johnsons and their thumbnails and the titles of their videos that they've had to come out with recently, right? Like didn't probably have that on their 2026 bingo card as far as being like where Donald Trump would have this country, considering what his promises were as far as ending wars, as far as no new wars, no wars in the Middle East, no regime change wars, lowering prices, ending the war in Ukraine, energy bills were going to be cut in half, and we know the list of bullshit that he spewed in order to get elected. So again, this is Tucker Carlson. I want to say, what is this? I forget what year this RNC speech was. It's irrelevant at this point, but just listen to what Tucker Carlson had to say in defense of Donald Trump, and then we'll cut to what Tucker Carlson's saying now.
I can't hear you, but I know it's something good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I apologize. I do. The fact that I cut it and stopped it at that laugh, I'm going to raise my hand. Right hand accountability on that one. That's my bad. My fault. I know that's going to give people nightmares. I know that just sent the chills up a lot of people's spine right there. That laugh is one of the most, like genocidal, fucking maniacal, like sickening laughs. Like it's like a psychopath laugh. So I apologize. I should have stopped it at least 10 seconds further. So right hand up accountability on my part.
So
that guy wasn't alive. That was a dead man. That was a dead man in a cowboy hat. Hold on. Do you see that? One sec. Yeah, that guy's dead. Yeah, he's dead. Is that Bernie? Is that Weekend at Bernie's in a cowboy hat? Is somebody propping this guy up from the back? Because that guy does not look like the blood is still pumping through his body. Anyway, side. that's a side debate, I guess.
So I watched the video of what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania about 50 times.
50 times. That's a lot of times. That is a lot of times. Like 50 times, guys.
I think I was one of about 8 billion people around the world who watched it. And the more I watched it, the more it struck me that everything was different after that
I think
moment.
you mean scripted. I think the word you're looking for there is scripted. He said different. It looked like everything was different, or it feels like everything's different. I think the word he looked for is scripted. It looked like it was scripted, considering you got the Secret Service guy literally rushing in the photographers to get the appropriate shot at the exact moment. And then it just so happens that Donald Trump was like, hey, wait, keep me in this position. Hold me in this pose, in this exact spot that I know is not only within range of the shooter, but also directly targeted by the shooter. Like, just please hold me in this just one more second while I put on my fucking shoes and throw my fist up. And hold on, can you wait a second as they lower that big fucking flag behind me so that can get in the shot as well? In just a second, hold on. The Secret Service agent is just now ushering the photographers over to the correct side of the fucking stage so they can get a better shot. So just a second, hold on. Hold on, everybody. Let me stay in shot within the fucking sniper's fucking scope. Just another second longer. Okay, got the shot. Got my shoes. Okay, now we can get out of here. Like, I think what he meant to say was it was scripted.
Everything. And this convention is different. The nation is different. The world is different. Donald Trump is different. When he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up.
Shot in the face. Like, talk about an exaggeration. Right? Holy shit. Shot in the face, considering the man didn't even get fucking grazed in the air by a bullet. Like, I think a cut from a piece of glass on the tip of your earlobe is a lot different than getting shot in the face. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say.
I thought at that moment, that was a transformation. This was no longer a man. Well, I think it was divine intervention. But the effect that it had on Donald Trump, he was no longer just a political party's nominee or a former president or a future president. This was the leader of a nation.
Oh, yeah, just the leader of a nation. And all it took was a staged assassination attempt from his fucking people. And then all of a sudden now we can prop him up on the world stage. And I think I got another one here. He spoke at another Trump rally at Madison Square Garden. I think you guys might remember this too. So here's a minute from his speech there. And then we'll take a look at what he's saying now about Donald Trump. And, maybe if he's second guessing his sycophancy in defense of Donald Trump to get him elected. Check this out.
The stones that takes, the bravery that takes is incredible. Donald Trump's going to win. He's going to win. I know that that's true. Why is Donald Trump going to win? The people he's about to defeat have no idea. And they're panicked. They have no idea why people like Donald Trump. And their first theory was, well, Donald Trump is evil, so half the country's evil also. And that's one of the reasons they spent the last 4 years trying to destroy the country, because they're mad at its voters for liking Donald Trump. How much easier would it have been just to pause for 20 minutes and ask yourself honestly in some silent place, why do people like Donald Trump? And if they had been...
Because he brought out racism again. He made racism mainstream again, right? He allowed them to be the worst type of person that was locked up deep within these fucking people, right? He allowed the worst of the worst of the worst of these people to become, to be allowed out, to be allowed to be mainstream, to be put on Twitter, to be propped up, to be fucking applauded. That's why a lot of the people decided to care for him. But here's, that's Tucker Carlson talking about he knows Trump's going to win, how much balls Donald Trump has, how great Donald Trump is. What's he saying now, though? What's he saying now? I'm just curious what he's saying now.
You'll be living in hell as if hell is a place. Hell is a condition. And this is an example of that condition. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. You're mocking the religion of Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea. The message of all faith at the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. This is a mockery, not just of Islam. It's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that.
Well, you
40
did support
days
it,
of bombs, missiles,
you did support
and
it. That's exactly
You are
what
mocking
you
me.
supported. And you supported it willfully. You supported it, with excitement, right? You knew you were going to profit from it, or you thought you were going to profit for it, right? Until, again, you were kicked off of Fox News, and now, again, you're trying to have to build this whole kind of independent organization opposed to MAGA, the same thing that you propped up for so many years, the same thing that you,
Threats.
put into
And yesterday, a ceasefire was announced.
Why the hell do I
Trump-
have David Attenborough
and
speaking in my ear? That was the weirdest thing that ever happened. David Attenborough just started talking about a ceasefire in my ear. But again, that brings us to the propaganda portion of today's episode, guys. Make sure you hit that like button because the Lego videos, the Lego bangers just continue to roll out by the second. Again, just kind of possibly being the reason why Melania is actually so upset, why Melania came out with her little fucking press conference. Maybe she's been watching these Lego videos, guys, right? There's a lot of Epstein little nuggets in there, a lot of references to Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe she's getting a little worried at what information the Iranians have, what they're going to release. I don't know. Again, you guys can speculate all you want. Let me know in the chat. But the Lego bangers continue. I think they're dropping them by the minute now. I don't know, maybe by the second at this point, because every news article, every kind of story that comes out, just becomes like a Lego video immediately, instantly. I'm not really sure how they managed to put these out so quick, but Jesus Christ. Here's kind of the latest one. This is called You Won't Believe This. I wanted to watch this with you guys. I wanted to dive into it with you guys. So let's see what else they put out. Let's see what they're making fun of. Looks like right off the bat, we're going to look at a little Lolita Island behind us. You can see Jeffrey Epstein's island. You can see the yachts. You can see the people partying. And, of course, they're making fun of the mandatory draft right off the start as well. Let's see what else they got.
Yo. He's buying an island of ice while the world is on fire. A billionaire liar, a professional prior. He tweets in the morning, NATO is useless, while leaving the youth in the street feeling rootless. Automatic draft, yeah, the art of the steal.
Wow, they're even going with a UK like drill rap kind of theme on this one. Again, you can see how they're trying to reach like the broader audience, right? They're not just trying to go for the Iranian propaganda for the Iranian people, which is what the White House seems to be, kind of focusing on as far as their propaganda in retaliation in return of this, their White House kind of Call of Duty bowling type, using the targeting videos that they've used to target their systems and their missiles and stuff like that. That's more aimed at their MAGA cult, the white Christian nationalist base in inside of the United States, as opposed to trying to get, kind of favor or curry favor on the world stage with other people, which is what these videos seem to be doing. These videos seem to be made for the broader fucking, social media users, as far as that's concerned, in English, the type of music that they're using, obviously the references to Lego right off the bat, and then obviously the little Easter eggs that they're putting in the backgrounds for everybody to spot, is again more geared towards people outside of Iran, getting to use this and spreading this around.
For a classified deal, Vietnam buys, but the reason is trash, protecting the files while he's burning the cash.
That just said 100-minute. I think that just said 100 strikes in 10 minutes, referencing Israel's attacks on Lebanon yesterday. So you can see how quick these are kind of pushed out and kind of put out there.
Facts. The jungle's dead. Blood on the floor. The jungle's dead. Why are we going to war? The jungle's dead. Secrets in the file. The jungle's dead. Killing with a smile. The jungle's dead. The jungle's dead. The jungle's dead. The jungle's dead. 100 strikes, 10 minutes, it's insane. 50 buildings down, washing blood in the rain.
There's another one. There's another Epstein files little fucking Easter egg. Who's protected? Epstein files, right? You can see Donald Trump wanted up in the corner there.
Call it strategy, I call it a joke. 100 families.
There's the island in the background again.
And smoke. You call it the law, no, it's jungle survival, killing the innocent for a political rival. Sky News is laughing, your own people hate you, and even the news starts to underestimate.
Epstein boys is safe. Meanwhile, it shows the U.S. troops going to fight.
The straight is a chokehold, the vows will close. The weakness of Washington is finally exposed. $98 and the price keeps on creeping, while the mothers of the drafted are bitterly weeping. You're thirsty for helium, you're thirsty for gas, but you're stuck in a war that is kicking your ass. It's the law of the jungle where the strong eat the small. But
even oil, $98, no passage. Ask Israel.
The giant is bound to fall. Crash.
Get away from Israel now in the background.
Someone warned you, the exit is gone. You're trapped in the dark.
Epstein Island in the background looking like a big party. Meanwhile, Trump, this is fine in the background. You have been selected. Once again, talking about the mandatory draft.
Before the dawn, 1 9 to 7, your own party is turning, while the bridges to Tehran are steadily burning.
It says Strait of Hormuz closed for USA and Israel, open for all. $98 oil.
Nice to cool down the shame, but the Epstein files have your middle name. Automatic enrollment, automatic grave. Is this the freedom that you promised?
And again, this doesn't really look like a country that's ready to capitulate or seems to have less power on the world stage, or wants to, again, let people know that they have less power on the world stage. This, again, seems like a very defiant nation, somebody that seems to have the cards, like the opposite of what Donald Trump says. They seemingly do have the cards as long as they can control the Strait of Hormuz, as long as they can continue to put pressure on the world economy. They seemingly have all the cards because, like we've talked about, doesn't seem to matter how many targets the United States military takes out. Doesn't seem to matter how many ships they sink or how many aircraft they eliminate. They can't really do much about the Iranians' control over the Strait of Hormuz. And then again, we always talk about how we could, this could be even worse if, in fact, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait is shut to the extent in which the Strait of Hormuz is shut as well. But as far as the propaganda war is considered, it's kind of a long-standing W on the side of the Iranians, considering the amount of videos they've been able to put out, how kind of relative they are to what's taking place in the news stories that have been known to everybody. And again, the amount that they've been shared already just goes to show that they're kind of winning this battle, even on the propaganda war, or even on the propaganda front, as that's concerned. But there's a few more here, a couple more updates as far as what's taking place with the U.S.-Iran fake ceasefire. So again, I wanted to see if we can kind of fill everybody in on what's been taking place, what it means, see if there's any updates or information that we haven't been able to cover on this show up till now. And then when we get after this, I want to make sure that we get into this Piers Morgan clip, which again is a good way. We'll kind of give you guys some good insight as to how to, push back on these ridiculous talking points from these idiot Republicans that still defend what Donald Trump is doing, what the United States military is doing, and what Pete Hegseth and Lindsey Graham want to continue to see happen. you know how to kind of combat this. And again, here's another category, another instance in which we need to kind of recognize that somebody isn't a friend of the show, politically, isn't politically aligned in most cases, but somehow is coming to the same conclusion, possibly based off different beliefs, coming from a different angle. But again, I think it's politically expedient and beneficial to show you how weak and insignificant the talking points from the Republicans are, and how easily kind of swiped down they are. Even if Piers Morgan can do it, then again, you guys can do it depending on who you're talking to. But before we do that, let's see if we can dive into this video here. I just want to see if there's any further updates we need to know about. Further updates that we need to know about. What's that say? Your browser's lost connection to your screen share. All right, let me see if I'll throw this back on the screen. We'll do this all over. That way I don't have to stop and start it when I officially start the fucking thing. Throw that back on the screen. Back again. Another click here. All right, we're back at it. We're back at it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so this is Preston Stewart just kind of giving us a quick update on the U.S.-Iran fake ceasefire. As he says, it makes absolutely no sense. And again, just want to see if we can fill in any of the gaps, any of the cracks that have been left in the reporting, see if we can kind of fill ourselves in on anything that's been taking place. So just a couple minutes of this. I appreciate you guys. Then we'll dive on to the Piers Morgan kind of clips that we wanted to watch. So hit that like button. I'm Boston Bryant. This is Blunt Politics. Thank you, guys. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to everybody gifting. Thank you to anybody sending in a Venmo up in the corner. $1 or $2 is all I ask for. Anything above and beyond that is totally up to you guys. Thank you to anybody gifting in the chat, and much appreciated to the mods for keeping that chat a safe place. Appreciate you guys.
All right, what's going on, everyone? So technically, the ceasefire between the United States and Iran still holds, but it is looking more and more like we just agreed to stop bombing them for a period of time. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And remember, that was the reason we could enter into a ceasefire.
So again, thus showing the fact that we, in fact, capitulated here, right? Like we were the ones that said, okay, we're going to stop bombing because of what you guys have as far as power, as far as control over the Strait. Doesn't seem like it was the other way around, as much as they would have you believe that it was Iran begging for the ceasefire. It was Iran begging for this to happen. No, it seems like it was the United States that seemingly backed out of this without getting anything in return, right? Getting absolutely nothing for it. Strait still closed. More demands coming from the Iranian side. Again, not even sending their delegation, the last that I saw before coming on, to Islamabad to have the talks with JD Vance, who has already left to go to Islamabad. Right, so they still have to agree as far as the United States. The Iranians said that they still have to agree as far as Lebanon, as far as returning any of the, the confiscated assets. There's a lot that's going into this even before the negotiations even happen, before they even take place. So seemingly already on the edge, already on the rocks, these talks, before fucking, again, JD Vance even has a hand to shake.
First place is because President Trump said Iran would open the Strait of Hormuz. They haven't. Also, Iran has since said that under this new deal with President Trump, they will be able to continue enriching uranium. So that's a problem. It's almost like everybody is operating off of a different set of assumptions. And seriously, like every group involved thinks that something else was agreed to. And yesterday, there was actually a report that the negotiating parties forgot to write some of this down. And it sounds ridiculous, but it might actually be true because it kind of lines up with the different responses we're seeing from the United States, Iran, the Gulf countries, and Israel in just the past 24 hours. We've even got an assessment from Fox News that we're going to run through today because they put out an op-ed celebrating what they called Trump's big victory in Iran, and the audience wasn't having it. So this is an audience that is generally pretty supportive of President Trump, and they read this article, and we're going to run through the comments today, and they said, do you think we're stupid? Is the victory in the room with us? What are we even doing here? Now, starting out,
again, just goes to show you that even Fox News is having trouble getting this over on their viewers, right? Like even Fox News is having like difficulty prying out a victory from the situation. Like no matter how hard they try to propagandize, like even their viewers that like want to listen to this shit, they want to be lied to a certain extent, they're not buying this shit. Right? They're not buying this like, okay, this is much better off now than we were just 7 weeks ago, because it's clearly not by every single fucking metric.
What happened yesterday, or a little over a day ago, President Trump announced that we had agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran based off of their 10-point plan. Now, there were a couple plans floating around leading up to this. There was the U.S. 15-point plan and a 10-point Iranian plan. We've walked through the 10-point Iranian plan in recent videos. To cut to the chase, not pull any punches here, that would be a strategic defeat if we were to agree to every one of those 10 points. Now, it sounded like that was the starting point, so we really tried not to overreact and say this is, let's wait and see what this actually turns into. It looks like some of the pushback there might have made its way to the White House because before long, yesterday, we had senior administration officials, including President Trump, saying it's not that 10-point deal. It's another 10-point deal. You just haven't seen it.
And you can, I mean, just look at the disconnect, right? People that have been covering this extensively, people that have military backgrounds that should have some like deeper understanding of like what goes into certain things like this, what goes into the negotiations to some extent, right? Not everybody that has, involvement or military expertise in this, but, to some extent they would know what is right, what sounds weird, what doesn't make sense, what kind of isn't adding up, right? And none of this is adding up. None of this makes sense to anybody. Even the MAGA people are having, difficulty. Again, like we just talked about, Fox News trying to spin this is having extreme difficulty trying to get even their viewers to believe that this is like some sort of benefit, some sort of victory for the United States. So it doesn't make sense no matter what angle you kind of look at this from, whether it's what the Iranians are saying compared to what Trump is saying, whether it's what Israel wants to see happen and what is doing compared to what you're hearing from the Trump regime in the United States. Like none of it seems to add up. The plan, they can't even get the 10 points correct. Like they can't even agree if Lebanon is part of the agreement or not part of the agreement. It's just so disjointed and disconnected. You can see how like the incompetence, the through line of the incompetence of this regime is following through to the way that they conduct war, the way they conduct negotiations, the actions that they're willing to perpetrate. And again, the danger they're willing to put not only the world economy in, but also the people that they're supposed to represent, the American people, in the secondary impacts to our lives that we're feeling now because of what they want to fucking see happen in the Middle East.
I don't know. So we don't know what they're talking about. Technically, it's not the 15-point plan, or it is, depending on who you talk to on what day.
Know.
It's a different 10.
It's so stupid. It is the 10-point plan, but it's not the 10-point plan. It's the 15-point plan, but it may not be the 15-point plan. It's kind of maybe a combination of the two. We don't know, really. You know what I mean? It's just like that's how up in the air, how like ridiculous the reporting is on this, how wild it is to try to follow this and try to get like some cohesive like idea of what's going to come next. Like, it's just fucking, it's mind blowing. It's exhausting. Trying to dive into the different fucking news coverages and the different articles and the statements from the White House and the statements from, different international leaders and trying to compare that to what we're saying on the ground. And it's like, it's taken a toll out of a lot of people. I understand, the angst and the anxiety that people were going through the other day, waiting and watching to see if our country was really going to go through with, again, the war crimes that the president of the United States threatened on Truth Social. So I know that took a toll. A lot of people are exhausted at the end of that night. Again, the destruction, Donald Trump talking to the Wall Street Journal, or was it the New York Post, one of the two, where he said he's getting the military ready and they're loading up with weapons that would be capable of, again, the destruction of Iran again. Again, even as these peace talks or even as these negotiations are supposed to happen in Islamabad, like, it's just the whole fucking thing is nonsense. The whole thing is crazy. It's dangerous. It's wild. It's chaotic. There's no real rhyme or reason. There's no way to kind of predict what's next. It's really anybody's guess, and we're just kind of holding on and hanging on for the ride here and trying to cover it as closely as humanly possible so that, like, we're not as blindsided as typically as we usually are in the next step when Donald Trump eventually takes the next crazy action, a next crazy step, or next step that makes absolutely no sense. So you can see, as far as Preston's reporting is concerned, how confusing it is, how nothing lines up. Nothing makes sense. It's a ceasefire, but it's not a ceasefire, much like we talked about with Donald Trump's negotiations and so-called, fake peace deal in Gaza. We talked about the amount of deaths and destruction that's come even after that. We've talked about the incursion of the Israeli settlers in the West Bank. We've talked about the ongoing violence of the Israeli settlers in the West Bank against the Palestinians. We've talked about the ongoing construction projects that they have and trying to, again, rebuild. And we just talked about the other day, the, secret vote that Israel had to allow, I think it was like another 22 different Israeli settlements that are not supposed to be happening, that are not legal to be happening. But again, we continue to try to bring this up to keep everybody on track and up to speed with what's going on. And again, speaking of being up to speed and on track with what's going on, here's a good kind of shutdown, I want to say, right? So another instance in which we're using somebody that is not a political friend, that is not a friend of us politically, to again show how easy it is to swat down, to bat down these ridiculous talking points from different Republican idiots different Republican talking heads. I think this guy's name is Ben Ferguson, if I'm not mistaken. He's a MAGA Republican talking head, kind of in the same string, the same kind of group as what's the other guy's name? Scott Jennings. So he's kind of like a Scott Jennings guy, like out there, no matter where he's on, he's defending Donald Trump to the ends of the earth. He's excusing every one of his genocidal kind of, posts. He's the whole 9 yards. He's a Scott Jennings acolyte. All you got to do is, if you don't know Ben Ferguson, think about Scott Jennings, and he is very similar indeed. But this is, again, Dave Smith. Somebody that was responsible to a certain extent for getting us Donald Trump, no friend of the Democrats, no friend of the left, who is, again, just showing us how easy it is to combat these stupid talking points, to show how ridiculous and utterly useless this war has been, even though these people continuously try to pry a victory out of the jaws of defeat. So even Piers Morgan getting a couple shots in here, again, some people that people that deserve no credit, people that are actively responsible for getting us in this position, seems to be, again, the theme of the shows recently, and trying to show and highlight the MAGA civil war that's been going on. But let's just see if we can dive into a couple minutes of this, and then I'll get you guys out of here for the day. Maybe you guys can enjoy the sun that's still shining, hopefully, wherever you guys are watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 20K before midterms. We're trying to get the most weight behind our punches here. We're trying to kind of swing and fight above our weight class, if it were. So all right, let's dive into this. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to the mods, thank you to the chat. Hit that like button again.
No, it's not a yes or no. I'll give you the answer.
Sure it is.
My answer to all of those families would be, if you had listened to people like me, people like Ron Paul, people like Pat Buchanan, our troops never would have been in Lebanon or in Iraq to begin with, and your loved ones would still be with you.
In this video, libertarian podcaster Dave Smith goes head-to-head with neocon, MAGA commentator Ben Ferguson over the realities of war, blowback, and the devastating consequences of American interventionism. Let's watch this together.
And again, I probably should give credit where credit is due for the video here. This video is put up by The Special Relationship. It got about roughly 60,000 subscribers. It was put out about 21 hours ago, titled Piers Morgan and Dave Smith Humiliate Trump Glazer Over Misunderstanding of Iran War. So credit where credit is due to the guy who put this video up, The Special Relationship. So
really interesting debate, I think. And it all stemmed from something that Dave Smith on this show said about the United States being, well, let's listen to it.
The IDF is the worst terrorist organization in the region. Let's get real. The United States of America is arguably the worst terrorist organization in the world. If you want to look over the last 25 years, how many innocent civilians we've slaughtered. You're getting us into the neocon. Yeah, that's right. You're getting us into the neocon seventh war, which they've been dying for the last 25 years.
Now, as a consequence of that, all hell broke loose, obviously, online. And Ben Shapiro said about Dave, I'm sorry, but you hate the country. If you say America is the worst terrorist organization in the world, you just do. And Dave has since responded to that on this show. But Ben, let's just get you to, because Dave's already explained what he meant about this.
Yeah.
And many people agree with it, right? And, just to prep you up for this, you're about to defend the charge that America is not the world's worst terrorist organization within hours of Donald Trump posting to the world that a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. But in the context of the words coming from the President of the United States, quite hard to argue that that is in itself, those words are not the words you would normally associate with the leader of a terrorist organization.
And again, this is the same point that I made yesterday on the show. Like if you removed, the date and time of Donald Trump's post on that one, if you just kind of wrote down the same words that he said and you put a little dash next to it and you said it was sometime in April 1939, said by Adolf Hitler, and you gave it to somebody, I don't think they would bat an eye. I don't think they would say, hey, this kind of seems out of place. This doesn't seem like something that Hitler would say. So again, anytime that you could confuse or you could interject something that the American president has said and put that in one of Hitler's speeches or Stalin's speeches or Mao Zedong speeches or Pol Pot speeches or any one of the autocrat or dictatorial, maniacal, genocidal people that we know that have led countries in the past, if you could interject it into their speeches and it doesn't seem out of place, if it doesn't seem like, hey, that shouldn't be there or they wouldn't say that, then it's probably a huge fucking problem, right? So it's probably a difficult position to be in to go on Piers Morgan to try to defend this regime, to try to defend this government as Donald Trump's posting this shit, the shit that he posted on Easter, and obviously, the threat to eliminate the civilization of Iran. So again, but that's what Ben Ferguson's going to come on here and try to defend, and he doesn't do very well at it. He doesn't do very well. Not only does Dave Smith get a couple shots in at him, but also Piers Morgan even laughs at him at some point in this.
Yeah, look, I think two things about what the president said there. He's clearly talking to the leadership in Iran, and he's saying that you are going to destroy your people by not opening the Strait of Hormuz. I'm not screwing around. This goes back to FAFO. The president of the United States of America is using the same foreign policy that Hillary Clinton used, that Bill Clinton used.
I'm sorry, when did Bill Clinton threaten to eliminate the entire civilization of a country? Again, when did any other president use language even remotely close to this? And again, as much of a problem we can have with past presidents and their military actions and their drone strikes, again, don't really recall any of them coming out and directly trying to threaten or directly, threatening the elimination of an entire country or of an entire population or of an entire civilization. So again, and he tries to go on and talk about how Donald Trump never bluffs. He's a president that never bluffs, while at the same time saying that he was bluffing on this because he didn't go through with it. So again, I think Dave Smith, one of the points that he makes here is you can't have both things at the same time. You can't tell everybody what a strong man he is and he follows through and everything that he says, and they got to take him seriously and what a strong man. But at the same time, saying that, oh, don't worry, he was only bluffing. It's just kind of the way that Donald Trump negotiates, and you don't take it seriously, and also don't take it kind of literally. And everything that he says, it's just so it is a bluff. So he's bluffing in hopes that he could get it, get some kind of, benefit out of the negotiations is what you're saying, but also saying that he doesn't bluff. He's a man that follows through on everything that he says. So again, you can't have it both ways.
Carter used and that Barack Obama
When did any of them threaten, Ben? When did any of them threaten?
Let me finish the point I'm going to make there real quick because it's important. Right. This president, the only difference between his foreign policy with Iran and the other Democrats I mentioned was they all said that they couldn't get a nuclear weapon. And Donald Trump said, I am actually agreeing with you and I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop them. And you cannot be a terrorist.
But he already did that. We already went through this when he said he obliterated their nuclear capacity. He obliterated their nuclear abilities. There was no chance that they were ever going to rebuild it. And at the very least, it was going to take them 10 to 15 years to even get back to the point that they were. When in reality, it seemingly only took them about 6 months to, again, rebuild the entire thing to a point that Donald Trump got very fucking scared again and decided to enact this war, is what he wants us to believe. So you, again, can't have it both ways. You can't also say it was obliterated 6 months ago and now we have to fight this war in hopes to try to, put that to bed when Donald Trump said that was put to bed some fucking months ago. You can't have it both ways.
To the world, while Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America, shut down shipping lanes you have no right to shut down and expect that there be no consequences. The president doesn't bluff. And so when he puts that out, I think he's had about enough of this. I think he's had about enough of the fact that Iran, even after we go and kill their first level, their second level, their third level, and their fourth level of people, they're still not giving in. He's like, okay, you guys want to play this game, FAFO, and I'm going to act, which is exactly, by the way, why I voted for him.
But he didn't act. That's the whole fucking thing. And thank God he didn't act in the way he said he was going to act. But you understand what you're saying is not what happened, right? What you're trying to say is not what actually happened in reality. He did actually back off. He did talk about another 2 weeks. He did go through this fucking background route, this backdoor dealing to try to get the Pakistani PM to release this message so that Donald Trump could use that as justification as fucking for tacoing again. You understand that's not what took place, right?
Just before I go back to Dave to respond to that, explain to me the difference between the belief that Donald Trump has about Iran, that they want death to America, death to all Americans. That's why they want a nuclear weapon. And if they get one, they will kill millions of Americans, which is why America has to stop them. And the president of the United States saying he wants to wipe out an entire civilization in one night, which can only be done with nuclear weapons or weapons of that power.
Well,
look, as I say, look, I don't think he's going to do that. But he has said he's going to do that.
So he's bluffing.
Many people think he's already committed a war crime in signaling his intention to do that. But that's for another day. But my point is, what is the difference in terms of language between the head of Al-Qaeda, say bin Laden, saying wanting to wipe out millions of Americans, or Iran wanting to do that, and America wanting to do that? I mean, that would be Dave's point, I'm sure, in a moment. But before we go to him, what is the difference?
Well, look, I think the president here is a guy that always pushes the limit on what he's saying, especially when he's dealing with bad guys, whether it was in Venezuela, whether it's narco terrorists.
But he's not talking about the bad guys. They continue to try to play this little trick too, right? Anybody that's asked about this that, has some sort of defense for what Donald Trump said loves to bring it up like he's talking to the Iranian leadership, right? He's speaking to just the leadership. He's speaking to just the regime. That's not what the fuck he said. Okay, so again, we're back to this 2015, 2016, 2017, basically the entirety of Donald Trump's first term, where everybody surrounding him had to come out and at some point say, well, that's not what he meant. What he really meant was this. I know he said this, but what he really meant to say, oh, you can't take him literally. Oh, don't take him at face value. Oh, that's this. Let me explain to you in Donald Trump's way what he was saying. Okay, like everybody around Donald Trump at some point had to make that excuse. Like, oh, don't listen to what he's saying exactly. Let me try to interpret that. Let me try to reiterate that and kind of, we'll make sure that you have an interpreter here to go from Donald Trump to actually, actual English and actual speak. Like every single one of them do this, and it's fucking so frustrating.
Whether it's the Ayatollah and those that are in charge right now in Iran. Do I think he's going to indiscriminately kill a bunch of people? Of course not. Do I think that's the intent of the tweet? Of course not. If you've talked to the president,
then he was bluffing. Right? At the same moment, you just said he was a guy that doesn't bluff. That's why you love him, as a guy that sticks by his word. Everything he says he's going to do, he does. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, don't worry. It was just bluster. It was just bravado. He was trying to get a message across to the regime. Meanwhile, the message to the regime was if they didn't come through with what he wants them to come through with, he's going to eradicate their entire population. So thus having a huge fucking impact on the innocent civilians, regardless of who he's speaking to. That was the intent. That is what he put down. That's what the fucking black and white writing on Truth Social actually said.
And you know what he says here. You can either just try to hit him on that and score political points, or you can look at what the president has done so far. He has been incredibly surgical with the strikes that he's had. He's not been going after and just bombing. I'll go to an example that I think Dave used on this show. He's saying Israel is bombing all these buildings in Gaza, for example. That's not what the president's done here at all. The president has been very surgical in using our military. I have no doubt that that's what he's going to do here. And what he's saying is, if I go after your electrical grid, you literally are going back to the Stone Ages when there was no electricity. So
here's another one. Here's another fucking talking point that they try to use, and it's rightly called out. But I think both Piers and Dave here, where they're trying to make it seem like when Donald Trump said he was going to blast Iran back into the Stone Ages, that just meant electricity, right? It didn't mean water. It didn't mean their energy. It didn't mean trying to eliminate basically all of the uses and all of the needs that the Iranian people have and all of the services that they utilize on a daily basis to make sure that they can live, right? It's now only he just meant electricity. That's what going back to the Stone Ages mean. They're trying to, again, dumb it down a little bit. They're trying to make it like a little bit softer than what Donald Trump actually said. So let me tell you what he really meant. I know he said Stone Ages, but what he really meant was electricity. Well, that's not what the fuck he said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what he said, at face value, and we're going to try to defend against that. And I'm going to try to fucking make sure that everybody knows that's exactly what he said. I'm not going to go with this. This is what he really meant, because we can't afford that at this moment, just in case,
Want to hit the president political points to win a political argument? Fine, do that. But what the president's saying in that tweet, I think, is directly to the leadership in Iran and telling them, I'm not screwing around. This is going to be very bad for you. Open up the Strait of Hormuz and do it immediately. We can have a ceasefire. You guys have been talking to us for a while now. You know how to do stall and delay tactics. This is a deadline. This is a red line. By the way, other presidents have given red lines before. They just don't back them up. This president does.
Just think of where we are. Just think of where we are right now. Like, we're doing all this in hopes of having negotiations with a country we were actively in negotiations with before this war started. So we were actively in negotiations with Iran, right? At $2.55 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon you were paying, actively engaged in negotiation with Iran, right? No $2 million fucking toll per ship going through the Strait of Hormuz, actively involved in negotiations with Iran, right? No fucking huge spike in the price of gas that you've seen, but we were still engaged in negotiations with Iran. No fucking, no danger posed to our service members. No deaths, no going into harm's way, no flying fucking bombing, excursions over Iran. But we were actively engaged in negotiations before this all started. Just think of where we're trying to get right now. We're trying to claw ourselves back to not even the position that we were in 7 weeks ago. Like, we are trying to crawl ourselves back to a much worse position. We are at a much worse off fucking negotiating stance. We have much less leverage on the negotiating table than we did just 7 weeks ago. I want everybody to recognize how fucked up this situation has gotten. Right? How crazy and insane. We're literally clawing for our lives to get back to a much worse situation than we had just before Benjamin Netanyahu seemingly came in and gave Donald Trump a slideshow presentation to convince him to go to war in the Middle East. And that's apparently all it fucking took, even though, Donald Trump's cabinet to a large extent were against these actions and were trying to, again, tell him how dangerous this could be. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu's presentation was very adamant in saying that Iran wouldn't have the ability to strike back against the allies. They wouldn't have the ability or the balls to hit the U.S. bases in the region. They certainly wouldn't have the capabilities to put a stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz. And fucking Donald Trump bought it hook, line, and sinker. Okay, so to think about where we are right now and trying to just claw back and fucking JD Vance has already left for negotiations that the Iranians haven't even showed up to yet. That just goes to show you how detrimental this has been, how this has been absolutely no political benefit to the United States. This has put everybody in a worse position. It has propped Iran up as far as giving them leverage and power on the world stage. People now have to respect their control over the Strait of Hormuz. People now have to respect their control over their proxies and the geographical areas that they have under their control or could have under their control, referencing specifically the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. If they want to now impact us on a further basis with that, impact the Asian markets, impact Europe. Oh, there's another thing that I wanted to show you as well. Let me show you this just before I get you guys out of here. We'll kind of dive off of that one. I know I didn't get much of Dave Smith's kind of pushback on that, and I do apologize because he does make a couple good points. But again, I'm not ashamed or I'm not sad that we don't get to prop up people that aren't political friends of the show. So, take it with a grain of salt if it were. But I'm going to go back. Let me see if I can. Give me a second here because I want to go back. There was a thing that I saw on YouTube, again, that had absolutely nothing to do with politics, something that you watch to kind of take your mind off of this shit, to get away from the news, to get away from all of the coverage, to get away from all the craziness. Let me see if I can just find this real quick because there was a video of a channel that I typically watch, a car channel, and they were even speaking about how they were in Europe and they were being affected by the gas shortages, not only the gas shortages, but also the price of gas. In the effect that now this war on Iran is having. Let me see if I can go back. Yeah, I think there was this one right here. I'm going to throw this on the screen real quick. Let me throw this on the screen. Share this instead. Put this up, and I'll get you guys out of here after this. I appreciate it. After we go on, thanks some people. This is again, just an automotive channel that I watch, Daily Driven Exotics, a car channel. They talk about, supercars, hypercars, and stuff like that. Not really something you would expect to hear, like something pertaining to the Iran war or, again, anything political or anything like that. But their title to this video, as you can see, is "We thought the gas crisis was fake until this." So they actually say they ran into a gas crisis in Europe. Basically, the gas tanks are empty. There's gas stations that have no gas in them. And if you can get it, it's at fucking an exorbitant price. I think one of them, the calculations and going back and forth as far as the exchange rate was up around $10, over $10 US per gallon. So again, just to play a minute of this and how widespread this is and how it's having an effect on Europe and in the Asian markets, again, even above and beyond what effect it's having on you and I, as much as we're talking about the rise in prices in both oil and gas, the prices on goods and groceries and stuff like that. Like the Asian and European markets are seeing it even harder. So I just want to see if I can play a second or two or a minute or two of this to kind of just let you know how this has creeped into different aspects of society, and even people that are not political whatsoever, that have automotive channels or golf channels or whatever channels that they now have, are having to bring this up. Like they're having to acknowledge this, like the detriment to the world that has been perpetrated by Benjamin Netanyahu in the United States. Again, not directly referencing Donald Trump or Benjamin Netanyahu, but we all know why the impacts are being felt the way that they're being felt. So check this out.
Fuel prices are spiking across Europe, and supply is getting shaky. And to be honest, nobody knows how bad it's about to get. So we had an idea. Let's drive across multiple countries to see for ourselves. And we're taking the worst possible vehicles on fuel to find out if we'll even make it. Now, if you think of being dramatic, this happened back in the 70s, and it was really bad. And potentially, this could be even worse.
That's a brand new Testarossa.
This?
Yeah, that's the brand new Testarossa. That's the first one.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Do you like it?
Right when they f***ed up the 12 cylinder, they were like, you know what? But let's history of the Testarossa even more than they built that.
Yeah, it's pretty range. During the 1970s oil crisis, the unthinkable happened. Fuel stopped being a guarantee. Gas stations ran dry overnight. Mile-long lines formed before sunrise, and governments were forced to ration who could even fill up. Entire countries introduced strict rules. You could only buy fuel on certain days based on your license plate. And if you showed up on the wrong day, you were turned away. No exceptions. People abandoned road trips. Daily commutes became a gamble, and the freedom of driving, the very identity of car culture, was suddenly controlled, restricted, and uncertain. What once felt limitless became fragile overnight. And the scary part is the same warning signs. Tight supply, geopolitical tension, and rising demand are starting to echo again today. What do you think, boys?
Nice CO6. Oh, sorry.
So again, he's lining that up, the fuel crisis that they saw back in the 70s with kind of the warning signs that they're seeing now. Not only the fuel shortages that they're going through, but also the prices that they have to pay. I'll fast forward just a second here where they actually get to a gas station to try to have to fill up. And you can see kind of the worried look on their faces because, you know, they don't know if it's going to have gas. They don't know if it's going to have the exact gas that these cars take. Check this out.
Probably get in the cars and go.
That's actually a really cool car. I've been through a Roadster. That's sick.
First gas stop. Now,
First gas stop 1 block away from Ferrari Lamborghini.
we are going to have issues with certain gas stations either having restrictions or being out of fuel. They don't produce fuel in this part of Europe.
See this one? The one pump is already out.
It's the only one that has.
So they got pumps blocked off already because they don't have enough gas. And then when they're pulling out, I think he goes over the exchange rate and how much it's going to be and how much they just paid. Check out, listen to how much they actually paid for this.
Liters. Yeah. So you got a big car like this, it's not going to happen.
So you can't fill up, you have to do 50 liters.
Yeah. And look at the gas prices. I don't know what that translates to in like gallons, but if you do like premium here, it's 2.62 per liter. That is pretty expensive. So you pay for a full gas tank. What's that, like 160 euros?
So 262.
Yeah.
Full tank
For a
will be
liter.
90 liters.
What's that per gallon in USD?
Whatever a gallon is. You're in Europe, man.
Stand by. Internet's also slow here. They're limiting that as well.
Also limiting your brain.
No, I was born with that.
Okay, so that will be 10 USD per gallon.
Holy sh!
$10 per gallon is the equivalent of what they're paying. And as he talked about, this is in Germany. He goes on to talk about how, you know, if you get closer to the Autobahn, it gets even more expensive. And it's up about, it could go up even 30% higher than that. So again, they're paying the equivalent of $10 per gallon. They're limited to a certain quantity of gas that they can get. So clearly feeling the impacts, feeling the effects of the, you know, the global gas prices, the shortages, the oil exports, you know, and again, the Strait of Hormuz being closed is a big problem, not only for you and I, but for the world writ large. It really is. So again, the ongoing negotiations still, I guess, I don't know, JD Vance is on his way, but it remains to be seen if the Iranian delegation has in fact left. Last I heard that they were still waiting for some points to be kind of agreed upon by the United States, one being obviously Israel's ongoing attacks on Lebanon, and then there was a few other sticking points as well, but that was before they would even send the delegation to go even start to even begin the talks with the United States. So again, we are in precarious times. We are being led by fools, by morons, by corrupt, by indecent human beings, by just absolute genocidal freaks that just want to see bloodlust. The neocons have completely taken over at this point, and we need to continue to fight back and make sure that we're staying up to date and up to speed on all the information, which is what I try to do here at Blunt Politics. I appreciate you guys sticking through. I know we covered a lot today, covering the hypocrisy of some of these people that are now coming out again against Donald Trump. And again, as useful as it is to use the words of Tucker Carlson against Donald Trump, the words of Candace Owens against Donald Trump, the words of people like, Benny Johnson or Alex Jones against Donald Trump, we need to make sure that we remember who these people are, what their belief systems are, what they still would vote for today, who they still would vote with today. But make sure that we're not giving them any kind of leeway as far as rehabbing their image. As far as that goes. So let's see if we can get into thanking some people who were kind enough to send a message out or send a Venmo over there today. Appreciate you guys for everybody taking care of the show. Anybody going over to bostonbrian.com, you can check out when the shows are. All of my show schedules are up there for the week. You can check out all of my social media links. Make sure you're following me on all of the social media accounts, whether it's Instagram. We're trying to get to 20,000 on Instagram too. We've been making a push on Instagram recently. I really wasn't utilizing that to the best of my ability for a few years, so I'm trying to again get more active on Instagram. So anybody on Instagram that's not following me, obviously search out Boston Brian. See if you can give me a follow. We're trying to get to 20K on there as well. Trying to get to 20K on YouTube. It's a push to 20K. I think we're trying to get to 246K on TikTok. So that's kind of, that'll be a milestone there. We're trying to get to 250,000 followers on TikTok would be great. So any of the platforms that you guys follow, whether it's Blue Sky, whether it's Threads, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yard Substack, make sure you're following. And again, if you don't use them all, if you don't utilize one of the other platforms, don't worry about it. Just follow me wherever you can. So, all right, let's get into thanking some people that were kind enough to give me some love on the old Venmo machine today. Thank you to MR. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for the $2 contribution and the note that says, Happy Sunny Friday. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. You guys are amazing. I hope you're enjoying the day. I hope it's sunny out where you are, too. Thank you, Rochelle H., for the $20 gift on Venmo. I really do appreciate that. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much to Geneva H. as well for the very kind contribution from yesterday. Thank you so much to Dame C. Thank you so much to Jenny Faye. Thank you so much to Allison M., Heidi B., Nancy H., Suzanne M. Thank you so much to Yakov V. Sawyer. You guys are, kind of, like I said, the backbone of this community to a large extent, and I thank you for your support. Thank you for keeping us going here. Again, the easiest and quickest way to send over some support to the channel is probably most likely the Venmo here. If you got a picture, if you got a camera phone, all you got to do is take a picture of the old QR code up there, send you right to the Venmo. You send $1 or $2 with a nice little note. I say thank you, and we keep the show going, and that's how we work it out. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's get into thanking some people over here on the YouTube side of things. And then I'll get you guys out of here to enjoy the sun. What do you say? Thank you so much, Aaron. Good to see you guys. And thank you to everybody coming over from Hal's show. Thank you guys from coming over from anybody's show. I appreciate that. Thank you so much to Hal for sending people over. Shout out to CSL, who I'm sure has a hand behind that. So thank you so much, Aaron. Congratulations on 19 months. That's awesome. Love to see you when people are members for a long time there. It means we're doing at least something right. So thank you so much to Aaron. Thank you so much to Jeff 420, my brother. Thank you for that shout out. Thank you for what you say. Greg Kelly is a gamer at Boston Brian playing through it. Oh, come on. I'm not giving him any credit for bleeding on national television, right? Or whatever television Newsmax is actually considered at this point. Jesus Christ. They don't have like some sort of makeup crew or like somebody that could do something to make sure the guy doesn't just start dripping blood while he's trying to give a fucking segment. I don't know. Some Vaseline or something. Slow it down. I don't know. A Band-Aid. Tell people you cut yourself. Whatever you want to go with. But just not a brown school napkin swiping the blood all over your upper lip as you're trying to talk and defend Melania Trump against her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. Just seemed a bit icky to me. But thank you so much to Peter 314 for the 50 gifted memberships. Holy sugar pie. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that very, very much. That is incredibly generous of you. That goes a long, long way. We now have 50 people in that chat. Hopefully we had that many people in there watching the show, Peter. That's almost more than we have watching, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. And again, anybody receiving one of those 50 gifted memberships, please reach out to Peter. Throw a W, Peter, in the chat. Make sure we're saying thank you to the people that are kind enough to contribute. Thank you so much to Salt of the Red Earth for your contribution as well. I'm late. Purple said that there is a cover charge. Just kidding. No. No cover charge. Everything is free. Again, it's only if you find some value, if you really enjoy and want to support the show, that you have to contribute. Or again, you can contribute. There's no such thing as having to contribute. But again, if you want to, there's multiple ways in which you can do so. You can head over to patreon.com. You can sign up for a YouTube membership just underneath me, much like these fine and fabulous people have. And again, you can just throw in the old super chat or comment in the chat too. So thank you guys so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you, Salt of the Red Earth, for your contribution as well. Thank you, Masha, for being here for 11 months. Let's go. Give it up for Masha. W's Masha in the chat. Hit the like, subscribe, and share. That would be fantastic if we could get everybody to do that. So thank you, Masha, for the cheerleading. Thank you so much for the loyalty for 11 months as well. Thank you, Roxanne. Let's fucking go. Everybody's been here 11 months today, I feel like. Today's like the 11-month milestone. Appreciate you so much, Roxanne. Enjoy your day off. Take it easy, please. Again, that's only if the news coverage doesn't necessitate, some sort of breaking news coverage, which, again, is never out of the question. So, Roxanne, I appreciate you. Hopefully we get, a day to recuperate, a day to recover mentally from this nonsense. But, again, when you do a show like this, there's really never a day off. You may not have a show that day, but you always have to stay up to date, up to speed on what's taking place. That way you're not kind of, caught behind the 8 ball when you inevitably do have that next show. So, it's a 24-hour thing, as much as people try to, put the situation down or put this down as a job. I guess it is really a 24-hour thing to try to, stay up on the information, to try to put together the shows, make sure you got the clips together, make sure you're not, putting out mis or disinformation or anything like that. So, Roxanne, I appreciate you. Hope everybody else has a wonderful day. I hope everybody else has a wonderful weekend as well. Thank you so much to Yakov for 15 months of loyalty. Let's fucking go, brother. Best goddamn podcast community on the internet. I am absolutely going to have to second that. Absolutely no notes to add to that, Yakov. But very much appreciated for not only your friendship, your loyalty, but also your contributions down there as a mod as well. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate you, and hope you have a great day with the little one. JD, thank you so much, brother, for the super sticker. Very much appreciated, dude. Going right in the swear jar as usual. Awesome. Can't thank you enough for being a very valued member of the community, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend as well. Thank you so much to James Goldie. More Boston Brian chuckles, please. I'm trying. I know there's a lot of dark and kind of demonic news coming out there lately, so we try to put as light a spin as humanly possible while also giving it, these stories the attention and concern that they deserve. So, James, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for the $2. Hope to see you in the chat consistently, my friend. Appreciate you, Wes. Thank you for the 333. I just don't want to be number one. Why not? We think you're number one. We just won't tell you what category you're number one in. That's all. But we appreciate you, Wes. Thank you for keeping that chat lively. Very much appreciated in there. Thank you so much to Kate in there for 11 months. Again, another 11. Let's go. Just 11-month fest. My 11th month too. Let's fucking go, you guys. I appreciate it. All of you guys and your support goes a long, long way. It really does, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much to Tiff as well. Thank you so much, Tiff. You just keep getting better. Love you, Bri. Right back at you, Tiff. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Member for 21 months as well. Not only contributed, not only kicking ass down there in the chat, but also contributing to the show. So thank you so much to you guys. Thank you to all the mods. You guys have been fantastic. Wouldn't be here without you, especially you. And then thank you so much to Deb as well. Very much appreciated for 10 months of loyalty. Love to Brian, chat, and mods. Right back at you, Deb. Thank you so much. I saw you in there in, who was it? Was it Don Lemon's live stream earlier? Thought I saw your name pop up on the screen, if I wasn't mistaken. So shout out to you and everybody else, representing, talking about and kind of, getting up to speed and up to date with all of these other programs, supporting all of these other great creators out there as well. So appreciate you, Deb. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Carol as well for the $5 contribution. Hey, good bunch in the chat. Keep it up, y'all. I think so myself. I think we've built a pretty damn good community as far as the blunt politics community is concerned. You guys are supportive. You're engaged. You're informative. I should just say informed. But yeah, you guys are all of the things that I should commend you for being. That is you, and I respect you for it. So I very much appreciate you guys and all of your help, all of your love. Let me just see it. Did I see something else come in? Oh, Tom, thank you so much, brother. Tom just sent in another $50 on Venmo. You, brother, thank you so much, dude. I can't thank you enough for that. Hope everything is well. Again, if you need anything, if there's anything that we can do for you here, please let us know. Hope everything's well. Hope you have a great and fantastic fucking weekend. Hopefully the sun stays shining wherever you guys are as well. So very much appreciate you guys. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Thank you to everybody that has liked, that has shared, that has subscribed to the channel. A lot of people are still watching that aren't subscribed. So again, if you think you're subscribed but you're not sure, pop out, just take a look. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free to do so, totally free to hit the like button, totally free to share this out. Doesn't cost you a dime. And then thank you so much to everybody who takes the next step and throws in a buck or two and contributes to the chat. So appreciate you guys. I will see you not tomorrow. I will see you Sunday. And again, unless there's some craziness, some breaking news that comes out and we feel the need to cover it, we'll pop back on. We'll see if we can say hi. But unless but otherwise, we'll see you Sunday. All right, we'll see you Sunday for the main show. Thank you guys. Hit that like button on the way out. Again, I'm Boston Brian. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive, but keep your head in the goddamn swivel. Make sure you're staying safe out there. Very much appreciated. Slava Ukraine. Fuck ICE. Fuck Donald Trump. All the good things. Hit that like button on the way out. Thanks, guys. Very much appreciated. Oh, there's a new addition to the outro video, too. See if you guys can spot the new addition on the outro video. So much appreciated. I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you Sunday.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
He says, wrecked him, damn near killed him. Taking him back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses. In the hell was that all about?
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace. My superpower's being honest. I will eat my neighbors.
Never fight uphill, you
Вітаю,
boys.
Бостон
Never fight
Брайан.
uphill.
Мій
They
позивний
were fighting
танцор. Я
uphill. He
представник
said,
72-ї
wow,
бригади.
that
Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.